Hello and welcome to Magic Mythal Tomb of Annihilation, our 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign, episode number 37. We live stream our game nearly every Sunday night starting at 4 p.m. here on Twitch, and you can catch up on weekly sessions as well on YouTube. The link is below. You can follow us and turn on your notifications and you'll see when we go live. My name is Corey, or Pinwarp2, on Twitch. I will be running the game as Dungeon Master. I am joined by my players, Andre, who's playing Aelon, the Asmar Monk, Liz, who's playing Archie, Asmar Wizard, Brad, who's playing Baz, Loxodon Fighter, Brian, who's playing Blackwind, Half-Orc Ranger, John, who's playing Jonah, Gnome Artificer, and hopefully Sean will be joining us. He's just a bit late, I think, playing Donaquin, Tortle Druid. Alright, with that, let's go to our recap, which, the professional that I am, I did not bother to write last session. So, just going off the top of my head, last time on Magic Mythal, you guys had just exited the tower, or the temple of Ubtao, where you were confronted with a contingent of Flaming Fist soldiers, led by a Goliath captain, Yandala. They kinda gave you a bit of a hard time, but you luckily had a forged Charter of Exploration and were able to talk your way out of any trouble when they left you after that. You then decided to explore further, starting with heading up to the Market Ward, where you went to the house that Artis had indicated he had been staying at while investigating Mezro. There, you discovered not a lot, actually, just some bits and pieces about Artis, some, character building little bits and bobs, before moving on to head down towards the agricultural quarter to investigate this talking crocodile. You made your way across the channel and along the wall, where you had the opportunity to spy upon what looked to be a small group of, relatively small group of what you suspect were House Karanok forces, seemingly hanging out in and around the college that you knew were there in the Scholar District. They seem to be destroying books and other artifacts and things by tossing them into a big floaty black hole looking thing in the middle of a courtyard. You're not sure if you were spotted at all, but even if you were, nothing harassed you. So you made your way down along the wall and crossed into the agricultural district, where you discovered, after finding your way into the heart of the district, the strange group of people known as the Children of the Crocodile, led by a dwarven scholar by the name of Emberon Coalscuttle, an eccentric fellow. They all seem to be a bit strange, perhaps addled from use of various substances, you suspect, given their strange proclivities. But regardless, you were asked when you tried to get an audience with the crocodile. You were asked to slay a foul beast that had moved into a plaza near their compound. Upon going there, you encountered a aberration known as a Velox, strange creature corrupting the land that could animate mudmen out of the earth. After a harrowing battle, you destroyed the creature and discovered a strange crocodile-like glaive. But you decided to head back before you identified anything. And there, you were met by Emberon and his little group, and he said that you had indeed were the ones the Mudmaw foresaw. Having slain the beast, he's willing to grant you an audience. That's exactly where we left off, I believe, unless I missed anything.
I think so.
Anything.
I don't think so.
Wow, look at that. Didn't even have to look at my notes. 2 weeks gone by. See? Focus, Corey. I got it.
Well done. Inspiration.
Thanks. Oh, inspiration for the DM. I wish there was a place for that. I can use it for my monsters anytime I want.
We did find out that the House Karanok are right next door.
Yeah. You covered that.
Did I miss that? Oh my god, I completely zoned out then.
My riveting tale. Heroic daring do. Yeah. So here you are.
Yeah, and we killed that aberration, Corey, for the dude.
Yes. Did I mention?
Don't forget that.
Did I mention?
Oh, and we started meeting with the Flaming Fist. They were waiting for us outside of the temple.
Great. Yes.
Yeah.
I could have missed.
Those are like the 3 key things.
Oh, we traveled from the Sword Coast to Chult.
Was that last session? I can't remember. So long ago. Well, here you are, Embron and his cronies. Cronies? They're not really cronies. I guess they are. Anyways, they are looking at you somberly as the evening light fades, the bonfire crackling away behind them.
I mean, we're just sort of waiting for his...
Yeah, did he give us any indication?
Well, he said you've earned your audience, and that's where we end the session. Okay. So we're all just like, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Where is he?
Where are we going?
And he gestures to you, and he turns to the silver-haired elf, and he says, "Laren, prepare the sacrifice." And then he looks back towards you, and he says, "All right then,
no.
Follow me." And he kind of gestures for you to follow him as he wanders off.
He looks at us and says, "All right, so which one of you are we killing for the sacrifice?
Who are you giving up?
Right? You know that's how this works, right?
We already did that. I'm not sacrificing myself again.
Require one of you to give up your last breath. Wait a minute.
This is very familiar.
But this time there's a death curse, so fuck you.
I didn't even think about that. Anyway, yes, we'll follow him.
Turns and kind of nods to Emberon and rushes back into the building, followed by a couple others.
I can't believe he didn't call him Elf number 2.
Hey.
I guess to his face he doesn't.
You say Alf?
Elf.
Alf. He eats cats.
He does love
from
cats.
Melmac.
Yeah.
How did I remember that? Melmac. Jesus. I didn't even watch that show. Anyways, so
we follow.
You guys follow him as the light is fading. His shadow's growing long. He wanders to the east, through kind of like swampy trees and things, under the canopy of the jungle that's overgrown this district. You just barely make out surrounding you in the overgrowth, some ruined stone buildings and foundations and that kind of thing. And as he walks, he doesn't walk very quickly. He walks slow enough that you guys can easily keep up with him, and he frequently kind of looks back over his shoulder to see that you're still there.
That's very courteous.
And he says, "Must apologize for the theatrics earlier."
That was theatrics?
He's like, "Well, we're not all bumbling idiots."
I mean, I think we all just assumed you were high.
Yeah. No, yeah, I don't think any of you are, like, literally crazy. I mean, I don't know, maybe you are, but we've heard of, different substances and things that cause this sort of reaction.
Happiness.
Yeah.
He nods and he's like, "Oh, don't get me wrong. There's definitely substances here, and I definitely am more than happy for the the what would you call them? My flock to partake, so long as, of course, it doesn't put us in danger. With the Flaming Fist about, they've several times, well, hasn't come to all-out warfare at this point, but they're not too happy for us here. Got their hands full up in the other districts, though. Seem to leave us alone for the most part. Regardless, I wasn't lying earlier when I said that this was my... And the whole time he's like walking kind of through.
Sure.
It's like, I wasn't lying that this is definitely, for me, my life's work. I have focused most of my research on the school of divination and the foretelling of fates and that kind of thing. And then he kind of stops, kind of turns back to face you guys. And he's like, kind of like looks you all over a little bit. DM note, when you guys met him earlier, you did mention you were from Candlekeep, yes? I seem to recall when you introduced yourself.
No, I didn't, because I didn't know if he had... I was waiting to suss out whether I thought he might have good or bad associations with it, because I didn't want to open with it, and he'd be like, I hate Candlekeep, get out.
Okay, I couldn't remember whether it came up.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I didn't see it.
How the other guy though? The leader? Or is this the leader?
This is the leader, and no, I had, because he was
No, this is
apparently
the elf,
from Candlekeep.
isn't it?
This is the
No, this is Emberon. This is the leader.
Oh,
The elf was preparing the sacrifice. We're following him into the
I
woods.
thought we were following the elf for the sacrifice.
No. Other way around.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, so he kind of stops and turns back around to you, and he says, research that, frankly, has become obviously more difficult in the past few years.
I was gonna ask about that. Since you mentioned divination, I was gonna... Yeah, we know that it's gotten a little wonky.
It's like, indeed, after I came here, when the storms lifted, and I wasn't the only one that received the visions of this crocodile. In fact, I came here with only a small group. Laren, my assistant, him and a few others, 3 or 4 others, some locals. Anyways, since then, people have been trickling in, 1 or 2 at a time, over the past few months. They all speak of the same visions they've had of this crocodile.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me wonder, because as you're probably well aware, especially if you had any sort of interaction with or saw the state of the Church of Savras and Port Nanzaru, it has apparently, most of his clerics have lost their ability to see the future. And it got me wondering why it is that myself and these others may have had if you call them prophetic dreams. Anyways, my studies prior to this have led me to believe that it has something to do with what happened during the Obsidian Sky, although the details of those events are sketchy at best. Many of those who witnessed such things didn't live to tell the tale. And then he kind of turns back, starts walking again.
One of the Flaming Fist members we had encountered mentioned that you hailed from Candlekeep
Turns
before
and
you
he's
came
like,
here.
in my youth, I studied there. Yes, I haven't worked there in some time, but
I was actually sent out here to look for another group that had come through from Candlekeep. I was just wondering if you had encountered them while you were here, if they had come through at all to see you.
I haven't encountered anyone. Well,
I think it would have been about a year ago. I think.
he kind of shakes his head. He's like, no, I don't recall anybody else from Candlekeep coming through.
Until now.
Silence.
Okay.
You on the subject of the Flaming Fist, do you know why they're trying to clear you out of here? Like, are they just trying to hold the city for a strategic purpose?
He kind of like stops again and turns around. He's like, as far as I can tell, they're just here for loot. They don't seem to have any real interest in the history of the city, or I don't know.
I mean, granted, we haven't really been here very long and haven't seen every part of the city, but gosh, just, looking around, it feels like what's left in this city for them to loot. Doesn't seem like there's hardly anything value anymore. It's all ruined.
Well, there's value on things get buried.
Suppose.
Kind of nods. He's like, I didn't come here for treasure myself, so I can't speak to what may or may not be in the city here. It's not really my concern, as long as they leave us alone.
In my dreams, I didn't see a crocodile, right, Corey?
No. In your dreams,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, those are
I just wanted to make sure.
Donaquin did.
Yeah.
He seems quiet and contemplative on the fact, though.
Has there been many who have come since he's been here that have had the same dreams as him? Like, was there more than there is now, or does it keep growing? The jungle's so dangerous to get here.
He's like, indeed. Like as I said, they've trickled in over the past few months, two at a time. I expect there was more at some point. In fact, some of the people that came through mentioned that they did lose people in the jungle getting here. Not easy, but I don't know. There's a draw to this. And then
have the dreams changed at all since you started to get them, or are they like? Is it the same? Everybody has the same dream, or is it like changing as newer people come in, or?
Seems to be, from what I can tell from interviewing those who've come to join us, seems to be the same. Not so much a prophecy in itself, just a draw to the creature. I don't know what exactly the creature is. I surmise it's some sort of celestial, but it doesn't. Well, you'll see. It doesn't speak. It speaks in riddles and
in
metaphor.
Its way.
But one thing that has begun to the kind of a common thread, I would say, would be, I believe it alludes to in its various musings. Are you familiar with the heresy of the Forsaken One?
We have.
Anybody who cares to could make a religion check to see if you've ever heard of that particular phrase, or Baz has no clue. Makes sense though.
Religion. I
Aelin,
don't think I will, but
wow! Look at that, Archie. Yeah, Archie.
Learned.
You do recall when he says it. You do recall. It's a pretty not obscure, but it is considered. It's from the teachings, or rather, it's in regards to the god Savras. it basically is, and the reason it's called the heresy is because amongst the more devout followers of Savras, it is believed to be blasphemy or a lie and not true. But, and for the sake of the rest of the party, Embron would explain that the heresy of the Forsaken One, essentially, the god Savras, who, as you may or may not know, is the god of divination and fate. The heresy goes thus. The god Savras knows all things that come to pass. He knows when mortals die, he knows when empires fall. When he closes his eyes, he gazes on the end of all things. Mighty Azuth imprisoned him in a staff at one point. Savras waited patiently. By his own prophecy, Savras knew his bondage would one day end. Yet Lyra, the goddess of illusion, once tricked the all-seeing Savras. Hungry for power, Lyra sought to corrupt the holiest of Savras' prophets, Alondo the seer. Finding him one night by a starlit pool, she tricked him with a vision of Savras' murder. Alondo's prophecy so troubled Savras that he abandoned the world of Toril to search the multiverse for further portents of his doom. In his absence, Lyra snuck into Savras' celestial palace and stole a mighty artifact known as the Orb of Prophecy. When Savras learned of the deception, he strangled Alondo for his weakness. And in his rage, the all-seeing god turned to Mask, the Lord of Shadows, and commanded him to aid his revenge. Mask transformed Savras into a clone of Alondo, a duplicate so perfect it could trick even the goddess of illusion. Posing as Alondo, Savras swore fealty to Lyra and was accepted into her court. For ages, Savras schemed to steal back his orb, yet his hatred waned over time and was ultimately undone by that most mortal of emotions, love. Lyra's faithful always speak truth to one another, and so it was that the goddess confessed her budding love for Alondo. They lay together by the starlit pool and conceived a son. As the goddess grew heavy with child, so Savras' deception weighed heavy on his soul. In time, he revealed his true form to his beloved. Furious and heartbroken, Lyra tore the unborn child from her womb and cast it into the starlit pool. And with that, she turned her back on the all-seeing for all time. In despair, Savras smashed his Orb of Prophecy and swore to never deceive anyone again. The faithful of both deities have long rejected the heresy of the Forsaken One. The followers of Savras claim their deity would never act so chaotically, while the mist-shadowed of Lyra refute that their mistress could be tricked so easily. To this day, heretic priests claim the Forsaken One yet lives and will one day arise to seize his parents' place in the heavens. There you go.
Yeah.
There's a little story for you.
Wow, Archie, you sure do know a lot about this.
Well, I mean, Embron would be reciting the heresy to you guys. That's.
Oh.
Archie already knew this. Maybe not all those exact words, but with a 25, she's heard of that before. What Archie thought of that, or whether it was part of her studies or just something she read once, is up to you, Liz. But
Sure.
anyways, Embron kind of turns back and he's like, the light fades. Come, it's not much further here.
Well,
Is it that he thinks that this could be the Forsaken child?
It's like, oh, no. The way the Mudmaw speaks or shows, it alludes to bits and pieces of the heresy. I don't know exactly what it is, but I don't believe the Mudmaw is this Forsaken child. But recently, I've come to believe that there's a link between this heresy, of the Forsaken One, and I believe the Mudmaw may be trying to tell us something about it.
Okay.
And it maybe has something to do with this death curse.
When you said
What?
this is just a Liz notes thing, you said that she cast the child out and turned her back on what forever?
On Savras.
On Savras. Okay.
And now he's dead.
That was dead.
Of course, none of your characters know that Savras is dead. Because none of you were there, and it's not the kind of thing that the other previous party spread around. I don't think.
No? Is it bad to spread around and be like, oh, he's dead, guys?
I mean, I'm sure a handful of people in your immediate circles probably know what happened, but it's not
Sure.
the kind of thing that probably widespread.
Gotcha.
You think grandfather knows? And he's just like, well, I got this whole temple. I can't like just close it.
Oh, the one in a coma?
What if he's the Forsaken one? Think about it.
He is old.
Well, I mean, I guess.
What if
yeah,
it's the
any-
drunk,
And everyone's forsaken him.
the
Mm.
drunk one? Mm.
Oh, the assistant? He's the Forsaken one.
No, I think he's saying Soggy.
No, no, not Soggy.
Soggy.
Yeah, Soggy Ren is a child of Savras. It all makes sense.
And suddenly everything's coming
oh my
together.
god.
Because he's Forsaken. No one
Old man Ren.
They only,
He just wanted to scare people away so that he could buy all the land.
he's the only person I can think of that people don't immediately like.
Anytime we come across somebody who's been like exiled or kicked out or feels estranged,
Oh
oh
my
my
God.
god.
The Forsaken one.
It's always a Scooby-Doo ending. Always a Scooby-Doo ending.
Would have got away with it too. So,
What if- Do you know, the orb of prophecy that she stole, is that special?
Well,
And
it
then
got
the way-
destroyed.
It was special.
it was very special. It was very super powerful. But Savras busted it in his rage at the end, according to the heresy. Anywho,
We're gonna have to find all the pieces.
Man, we should just go to Brazen Hollow and find out. Oh,
oh shit!
Ooh.
Oh, too soon.
Ooh.
sorry.
So,
It's a good thing Archie doesn't know about Graven Hollow and that it's gone now. She'd be very sad.
Like the burning of the libraries of Alexandria.
Yeah.
yeah, well,
So, how long do we have to wait? Or do we wait?
I'm just following.
yeah. He says yes. It's not far now, and he brings you. He doesn't really talk too much for the rest of the time, unless you guys say something to him. But probably about 10 minutes later, moving through this kind of like thick undergrowth, suddenly you come into a clearing. There is kind of a muddy kind of bank surrounding this large open lake. Oh, okay. Sean has just got back. Yeah, he was late coming back from work, so he'll be joining us shortly. Getting
Sounds
his
good.
ducks in a row.
He's already dead.
Wait a minute.
We had to sacrifice something.
What do we know about Donaquin?
Well, you know he's
Maybe.
a turtle and a druid.
Oh man,
Maybe
but
he
when
was
we
kicked out of his tribe.
I mean, when we showed up, he was like in a cage, like he'd been forsaken by.
Yeah,
Oh God.
that's what I'm saying.
I mean, he was primed to be sacrificed anyways.
He had been forsaken. Is that what you're saying?
No, just we need a sacrifice.
Nope.
So we're gonna forsake him again?
Oh God.
What if that's what he wants?
What if that's the only way? No, so You see spread out in front of you a... Man, this coffee's really repeating on me here. Sorry, it's gross, I know. Let's see. Let me grab the the image. Oh, I don't have one. Forget it. So, you guys find
Can't fight.
yourself...
We can't fight.
You guys find yourself on this muddy embankment as the last of the evening light fades, leaving just a glittering starlit sky reflecting off this pool in front of you. There's this large, kind of like swampy, kind of dark water with some reeds and things sticking out of it. Probably a good couple 100 feet across. Beyond, you can just make out the silhouettes of statues along the southeastern wall of the city. The water is still. You don't see anything in it. There's no crocodiles along the embankments anywhere that you can see. And Emberon kind of like stops for a moment and kind of glances back at you all. And it says, we'll have to wade into the water. We should be safe enough.
Do we all have to be touching the water?
It's like, well, if you wish to commune with the crocodile, you'll need to be closer, I would to him.
I kind of gesture over to Jonah. Some of our, some of us are a bit shorter. Could, perhaps not be as comfortable in the water, but I could. I guess I'm just wondering: is
Can you carry him?
can I carry Jonah, or will that be like, oh, well, he's not in contact with the water? I don't know how this works.
I think we just have to go into the water to get to where we're going.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
am I mistaken?
Yeah, it's not touching the water itself isn't the
Okay.
important bit here. It's
Right.
just to get there, you have to wade through the water.
All that being said, Jonah, would you like a boost?
Yeah, thanks, Baz.
Oh, no problem. I will pick up Jonah and put him on my shoulder.
Well, Emberon kind of slowly wades. The water is only about, to him, it's kind of up to his like mid chest, but it's only probably
So
like
waist.
3.5 feet deep at most. Obviously, still that would be swimming water for Jonah. I think you're only like 3-something feet tall, right? Kind of like wades south, kind of slowly through the water. And as unless anybody, yeah, I was just gonna say, anybody not follow.
I'll go.
Okay, so you kind of wade through the still water. You get probably like 30 feet out or so from the embankment, and it's kind of slow going because it's like muddy. The muddy bottom, you're kind of like sticking a little bit as you kind of wade through. You do notice what looks like torches in the trees behind you, coming closer. And by the time you're about like 40 feet or 50 feet out or so, you see a group of the children led by Laren, with some torches for light, kind of spread out amongst the bank.
You mentioned a sacrifice. Is that absolutely necessary?
And he turns and he kind of chuckles. He's like, well, we wouldn't want him eating one of us, would we?
Nope.
What exactly is being sacrificed?
It's like, well, the
Crocodile,
Mudmaw will be hungry when it awakens.
Okay, so that doesn't really answer my question, though. You could be feeding him a watermelon.
It's like,
I don't know.
Believe me, he much prefers meat.
Okay. Again, a goat.
He chuckles. He's like, You think there's a lot of goats around Chult?
I mean, not if you sacrifice them all.
And he kind of chuckles. He's like, and kind of like looks back, stops, and kind of turns and looks back at you, Baz. He's like, "You worry over much.
Are you sacrificing a person? Yes or no?
He kind of gets like a look on his face, kind of like a hurt look. He's like, just like, he's like, you think that little of us? He's like, I'm a scholar, not a barbarian. No, we're not sacrificing a person.
I was like, thank you for
Still
saying
haven't
the word
answered the
no.
question.
For the love of God, answer me, man.
I'm a
I can't
scholar, not a
believe-
barbarian.
I was like, oh,
I can't
wow.
believe you would expect that of us. Anyway, bring out the sacrifice.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Yes or no? Good lord. Good times, good times.
You can never be sure. That's all
So
we're
the
saying.
screaming young... No, I'm just kidding. There's a... yeah, you see the people that came on the bank. Laren, the silver-haired elf, you think is a moon elf. He kind of looks like a moon elf, silver hair and kind of like pale skin. He and another human that you've not seen before are kind of carrying what looks to be like a large... Oh, what are those things called that you drag people on?
Sled.
Stretcher. Gurney.
Stretcher?
No, no.
Litter?
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 Horses.
Is that what I'm going for?
Palanquin?
Yeah, sure. No, I don't know. Anyways, like we'll say stretcher. Stretcher's close enough. I know there's another word for it, but for life of me, I can't think of it.
Skateboard.
A skateboard. Yeah. Yeah. There and on it there is some sort of creature. You're not quite sure exactly what it is in the gloom. That looks like it's tied to it. It's not a humanoid. Looks like some sort of like bipedal like mammal of some sort. And they kind of like put the stretcher, whatever the hell it is, down into the water, where it kind of like floats. It looks like it's got some, and then they kind of like push it out in front of them, and they're like following you about 50 feet back or so. Emberon keeps moving south till he gets close to kind of this what looks to be like a small island in the center that's covered in these like long reeds, and he kind of like stops about 15 feet from the edge of that island on the northern edge, and then he gestures for you all to stop as well, and then he waves at Laren and this other man, kind of waves them forward. It's like it often slumbers in the thick reeds there.
So
Cool.
it's just always here?
Always here.
He nods. He's like, it doesn't, at least as far since I've been here, it hasn't left the pool. But it doesn't always come out, but I think we'll hopefully be graced by its presence. Laren and the other guy kind of slowly make their way up next to you, and you can see that this creature, it looks like almost like a cross between like a boar and like a spider. It's got 6 legs, but it's definitely mammalian and has these large curled tusks and kind of like a in the dark it's hard to tell the color, but it looks like maybe like a russet and gray kind of like striped hide. And it's got a pair of long tails, one of which kind of ends in like a tuft of fur, and it kind of like whips it around in the air, kind of like agitated, and kind of like squeals, almost like pig-like, as it kind of struggles. It's kind of lashed to the thing with ropes, and Laren kind of.
Does it look familiar at all?
You could give me a nature check. Be pretty hard.
Yeah, I'm not.
Baz, are these things tasty?
Oh, I mean, I'm no crocodile, so I don't know.
I just wonder if we should, look for some Eat him.
Eat it.
What a weird
I
looking
wanna eat-
creature.
I want to eat that.
Yeah, none of you know what this thing is. There's none of these on the Snout of Omgar or anywhere along the southern coast that you've ever seen, Donovan, and the rest of you have no clue either.
Mhm.
And Embron kind of turns and he's just like, I wouldn't eat it. It is the flesh of these are poisonous, as far as we can tell.
Oh.
Then
But it's fine.
So it doesn't seem to bother the Mudmaw.
who
Alright.
who was the first person to offer this up to the?
Yeah,
Hey.
that took a lot of balls.
let's give this thing something that we know to be poison.
Maybe they saw it eating it on its own and we're like, oh, okay, cool.
Is that what happened?
Embron says, well, we've tried a few different things first, but seemed to take a liking to this one. We didn't want to approach it directly without some sort of offering.
Fair enough.
And then he kind of like pauses and looks back at you, Baz,
Oh.
again. He's like, and no, we never tried people.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to. I don't know how long this is going to take. I'm going to try and start doing a comprehend languages ritual.
Okay.
If I don't have enough time and something starts speaking, I'll just cast it straight out. But I'm going to try for the ritual.
In about 8.5 minutes, you start hearing.
In 9 minutes 45 seconds,
Fuck.
it quickly talks 10 seconds of
Wait,
words.
wait.
And then, no.
Hold on, I wasn't ready. Wait. Can you repeat that?
The only thing you catch is the very end where it says, "I shall never repeat this again," and then fate.
And that's where all the money's buried.
I feel like Archie would have started the ritual a little bit ago.
Would
since
you
you're
have?
trapped.
It's too
Well,
bad
that's
you
for an
didn't-
hour.
Yeah, but you didn't say anything. Can't retcon you doing a ritual. Gotta say things in earlier, Liz.
I can't say while we were traveling, is it okay if I had started casting the
Nope.
ritual?
Because
Fine.
that was the past, and now is now, and then was then. So, about 15 minutes later, as Laren, they kind of like push this thing, and it just kind of like floats at the edge of the reeds, kind of near this little island. They just kind of sit around, kind of silently, just waiting. There is suddenly, you hear a rustling, and you see a ripple in the water off to the right.
I'd take a couple steps away.
I'm just watching.
Few moments later, you see a large, kind of what looks to be like just this like, it's like a ridge of like, it looks like sharpened like black spines, kind of like rises out of the water, and then they're probably about like 3 feet long. These spines, that kind of rises out and then dips below the surface again, seemingly heading south around the edge, and then suddenly, from the center of these long reeds, you see a glow like fire, just kind of in the center of the reeds, and then a large, what looks to be a like gout of flame, kind of like whips up, turns in midair, wraps around the creature, and the creature squeals and bursts into flame, like whatever stretcher that it's on and all just kind of bursts into flame as this thing, which you now can see is not just a tendril of fire, but it looks to you like a large like tongue just wrapped around it, but it's flaming.
We knew that it looked like that.
And it just kind of like squeals and struggles a bit before kind of going limp, and it smells actually kind of good. Like it smells like sizzling like bacon or something, or like pork or something. As it literally is just like wrapped or up in this like flaming tongue, and you can see it like as you're watching, it's like cooking it essentially. Then you see another big gout of flame kind of like whip out, and it kind of like moves in the air before a large head emerges from the edge of the reeds, probably 10 feet long or so. This head, and a massive black crocodile kind of like emerges at the edge of the reeds. There are two tongues coming out of its mouth that just looks like, to you, like a pool of just like molten lava is what it looks like. It's just kind of like undulating with these two like tendrils sticking out, one wrapped around the thing, one's just kind of like moving in the air. And it kind of blinks a couple times at you guys, and you can notice as well that its eyes, each of which is probably about the size of, I don't know, the size of like Blackwood's head. Each of its
What are you
eyes.
trying to say about my head?
Yeah. So you got
Yeah,
a
why
fat head.
Blackwood's head?
No. Yes, well, I was gonna say Baz's head, but Baz is like an elephant guy, and his head's probably pretty big, so took the next largest person in the party. Yeah, its eyes kind of like look towards you, and they're kind of like these kind of like bluish, kind of purple black orbs, and inside the eyes, you can see what looks to be like a. At first, you think it's maybe the reflection of the stars in the sky, but they're kind of like moving and shifting on their own.
Wow.
The creature has a double row of large serrated teeth, as well as it emerges. You can see that it's got a large ridge of black spines along its back. You don't see the hindquarters or its tail at all. That still stays in the reeds. But just given the size of the head and the front portion of its torso, this creature is probably close to 50 feet long.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, it's like the size, like, I don't know. It's at least as large as some of the larger dinosaurs that you've seen in Chult so far.
I mean, it was a long shot. Does it look like anything I recognize from anything?
I mean, it looks very similar to what you saw from the top of the temple.
Sure.
What did you say? This is a long shot, but is this the crocodile?
Is this the Mudmaw? Who knows?
No, I just, looking at it, whether I
Roll an
ever come
insight check.
across anything like it.
Well,
Wow.
creature cooks its way through this kind of like boar-sized spider boar thing. It doesn't seem to pay you guys any mind as you're standing about 20 feet back or so.
I assume like Emperon and the other folks they're with us, right? They're not like off.
Yeah,
somewhere.
they're
They're-
Nowhere to be found.
they're like back on shore, hiding behind the trees. No.
Where did everyone go?
Emberon and Laren and the other guy, they're all kind of hanging out like with.
Yeah,
right
they're
where you
standing
guys
there.
are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I ask Empress, so what's the
Ooh.
protocol? Like,
And he's like,
how does it work?
kind of looks back at you and he's like, well, we wait for it to eat, and then, well, we hope it communicates with us.
Oh, okay.
Does it take 45 minutes to eat?
Mm.
Usually takes about
See?
that long. No. Takes 43 minutes. No, it cooks over the next probably like 5-10 minutes. It continues cooking the thing, and then I don't know, do you guys do anything else? It just kind of like cooks it? It
Watch
just kind of sits
Yeah,
there.
no, just
Yeah.
It's hard to tell where
Respectfully
the
make-
creature is looking, because it doesn't actually have like any pupils or anything. So it's hard to tell whether it doesn't seem to acknowledge any of you, or if it does, it doesn't care that you're there. Emberon just kind of like waits waits quietly.
I spend the 5 minutes studying its cooking methods. Just
The tongue in cheek.
I'm always willing. I'm always happy to learn new methods.
Yeah.
Sure. Flame tongue.
Emberon, did you guys try cooking it before you ate it? Maybe that's why it was poisonous.
He's like, oh, yes, we didn't eat it raw. Kind of looks at you. He's like,
We're not savages.
What's wrong with you people?
Once again, not
Barbarians.
I mean, we just.
But
got
yes,
here.
we did eat it raw.
And about
Oh.
as you're about to hear a fascinating tale of how they found out this thing was poisonous, suddenly the Mudmaw lifts the creature up with its like tongue, and then grabs it with its other tongue as well, and just kind of like pulls it into its mouth, and with a kind of like few crunches, just puts the whole thing in its mouth, crunches a few times, and swallows and closes its mouth. Its tongue's no longer lighting up with this kind of like bright glow, but you can still see like this kind of like, it's almost like embers kind of in between its teeth as its mouth is closed. And then it kind of turns its head and kind of like looks towards you. You hear suddenly kind of reverberating in your minds, and I need all of you to give me wisdom saving throws, please.
Oh boy.
I did not make that hero's feast.
Oh, it was almost a 17. But
Oh,
Oh,
Oh.
I know. It's actually a 4 because I shouldn't have that D4 anymore. That was the potion, but I can't remove it.
Oh yeah, and Baz's Giant Smite is no longer there too. Let me get rid of that.
we are the worst.
And you're no longer immune to disease, right? You gave that to
I
Baz?
gave that to Baz for now. Or
Yeah.
yeah. So Baz is immune.
What's the AC 3 from? That's your mage armor, yeah? That's still
That's my
active.
mage armor. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the DC was 10, so Archie, Jonah, and Baz all fail. You guys will all take 6 points of psychic damage as this kind of like reverberation in the air kind of like makes your vision swim a little bit. The rest of you kind of like wince a bit, but shrug it off.
Talk, don't yell. You got.
So Archie takes 6. Aelin, no, not Aelin. Baz takes 6. So that's enough to kill you. Oh god. No. You're okay. Jonah.
Could you imagine?
It's 5 hit points.
Someone in the party
ruptures.
just falls over in the water.
Death by prophecy. Yeah, and you hear this like kind of like growling voice. You can all understand it as it rings through your head, and it says, "Ah, I've seen this before. Welcome. It has been a very long time."
Hello.
what is your? What do we call you? I guess. What do we?
It's like the voice kind of reverberates again, and it says, "I am simply a vessel, a fragment. You have come to hear what you need to hear. That which is told to me, that which the Beret knew long ago." And then you see in the air, kind of like around it, small like almost like motes of like light start kind of like appearing in the air and kind of like swirling around it a little bit, and they kind of form various like configurations, like constellations in the air, these little like tiny pricks of light. And All of you kind of hear this response. It almost kind of reverberates, not in like a kind of like a strange kind of cadence. It's not really singing, but it's sort of singing, and it says, "When the soul monger grinds, and exiled Nisi wraps himself in serpents, death's curse will grip your world from beneath the forbidden city."
Can we get that in writing?
Can you repeat the last line of that? After the sea wraps himself in serpents, the death thing will do something.
Yeah, death's curse will grip the world from beneath the forbidden city.
Okay. Yeah, that seems to have happened.
How do we fix it?
And the creature kind of like turns slightly and kind of like rests its head down on the bank of this little island, and it says, "You must seek the guardians of Orolunga, there to learn the passage."
Where do we find? Do we know where to find the Guardian of Orolunga? I don't think we do. So where would we find
That's the next step in yours. We were heading to the place to find them, but we don't have like specific.
Yeah. Can
Um,
how can we find the Orolunga?
Find the guardian.
Yeah, the Guardian at Orolunga.
and you see its eye kind of like half kind of like closes, and it kind of like lets out like this like long kind of like sigh, and you see in the air the constellations kind of swirling around. They start moving faster, and you can see in kind of just like in the air, almost like mist like this kind of like vision, like this image kind of like starts to coalesce. And you can see what looks to be a strange kind of metallic kind of like ring suspended by like these large black chains, what looks to be over like a pool of like lava, in the center of which there is this strange kind of like multifaceted, like it almost looks like a crystal, that's kind of like it's got like bands of like different colored like metal around it, in different places, like this large like jagged crystal, kind of suspended in the center of this metallic ring. You're not quite sure the scale. It's really hard to tell because there's nothing for reference how big this thing is, but you can see occasionally you can see what maybe you're not sure where they're coming from exactly, but like kind of coming down around it. You can see what looks to be strange, kind of like motes of like this blackish gray like energy that kind of like comes down from above and like swirls around it a bit, and kind of sinks in. And one of the one of the motes of blackness kind of seems to come closer into view, and you see what just briefly it kind of as it sinks into this crystal, you can see a almost like an image inside the crystal kind of forms, very small image, like you're looking through like a dirty window into like a faraway room. You can see what looks to be a man with kind of like you would recognize him as the captain of the Flaming Fist, Balindros. He's kind of like looking around, like in confusion, like floating in this like a void. And then as it kind of swirls a little bit, you see like this purplish light from very deep inside the crystal, kind of like pulse, and then you see him get a look of horror on his face, and basically just kind of like he almost like, although your characters wouldn't think of it in these terms, he almost like pixelates and just kind of like breaks into like fragments of himself, and like seems to be drawn like sand like into this purplish light and vanish as he screams in horror.
Like you got Thanos snap.
Then the image fades and the voice rings out again, and it says, "The curse lasts while the soulmonger grinds. Seek out the oracle. Seek out the guardian." And then the creature's eye kind of like completely closes, and the motes of light disappear. It seems to be asleep, as far as you can tell.
Anybody got another pig?
Spider pig?
Emberon kind of like puts his hand on whoever's closest to him's like arm, and he says, "That's enough for now. Let us head back. It slumbers now. We mustn't awaken it. Not again. Not tonight."
That was quite something.
That was intense.
Reminds me of feeding velociraptors.
I assume we're backing away now with
Yeah.
him, unless anybody's not.
No.
Yeah. Laren and the other guy are already like probably 20 feet back, like wading towards the shore. Emberon kind of like slowly moves back, but he's kind of like looking at all of you just to see if you're moving back as well. But does anybody not, or do you guys do anything else?
Now we're all going.
Yep.
All right.
And when you get probably like 50, 60 feet away, like further away, Emberon, who's been quiet up to now, kind of looks at you all and he's like, "Well, that was interesting. Never seen that before."
What
So
does it usually do?
He's like, "Oh, fragments here, an image there. Nothing quite so coherent, if that was indeed coherent."
Yeah, it made a lot of sense.
And
Ish.
he kind of like strokes his beard a little bit in thought, and he's like, "It's like soulmonger. Not heard of this. An artifact or something?"
Yeah, it seems to be that crystal thing that was being shown. Seems like that's the soulmonger, whatever that may be. It seems to eat souls in some way.
He nods.
Because the
We did-
image. Huh?
We did see the soul of the captain whisk
Yeah.
away.
As I say, we know he died, and so it seems like it was showing us what happened to him afterwards. And if the souls are being eaten, I mean that makes sense why nobody can be resurrected.
But it's all, well, it's more that, you know, the ones that were resurrected, they just perish within a few years.
Well, it's both.
I guess so.
Why would a crystal want to eat souls?
As everyone looks at Aelin silently, like,
I assume it's not just a crystal, it is something else. Again,
There's someone who's using the crystal.
yeah, or something. Or the
My
crystal,
guess-
it holds a A
souls
being
are
of some
powerful.
sort. that
Sorry,
he's-
I think I kind of missed a detail that's important.
Oh.
Although you only recognized the one guy, which is the captain, there
Lots
were
of
a
them.
multitude of people like through that window that were kind of like milling about, moving around. But only when it pulsed, it didn't destroy them all. It just destroyed like one or two of them.
Okay. So it wasn't just one at a time. It was holding a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of inside. Okay.
So it's like everyone that's been resurrected, a part of them ends up there until their time runs out or something.
Maybe. So when it pulsed and destroyed it, that's when he died. Eventually, yeah.
So
Pretty
there's
insane.
kind of a group dying.
I'm sure
So-
that this is a no, but I've never heard of any artifact called the Soulmonger or anything, have I?
I'm sure.
Sorry, go what, Ryan?
I was gonna say, as opposed to why something would be eating souls. I mean, what could venture that collecting the very essence of the living could probably be very powerful engine to a weapon or a being to use.
Sure.
I mean-
I mean, we know,
give me
like,
an Arcana
we know-
check, if you'd
Okay.
like.
For me,
Uh,
or
Sister.
I'm just venturing like a wild card idea. So
Yeah, Joan. I mean, you could try Blackwood, but without
Well,
proficiency,
I
you probably
know
won't
that
get it. Actually, you know what?
Yeah.
Don't even bother. You can't get high enough.
no, I didn't.
I just
think
looked
so.
at your sheet.
It
You can't
wouldn't
get
make
high
sense.
enough. Jonah, you can make a roll though. I think you're the only other one that could get high enough with your intelligence and your proficiency. I just want to see if you would come to the same conclusion Archie will. Not quite, no.
Slightly different.
Archie, you've never heard of anything called the Soulmonger. You don't know what that is, and the thing that you saw in that was shown to you is not familiar. I would say it's sort of, the crystal thing is sort of familiar to
Okay.
those of you who saw Blackwind in particular. You saw the image of that thing that fell from the sky, that shark.
Mhm.
It seems to be a central component of this apparatus that you saw.
The obsidian thing, or was it? I can't. Trying to remember what fell from the sky.
Yeah,
I remember it was kind of like a meteorite that was obsidian, was it not?
Yeah, a big.
Yeah.
It's not like exactly the same, but it looks like it's perhaps was a part of that. But Archie, you with a 24, although you don't know this particular thing or what the name Soulmonger or what have you is, as far as the discussion about who would want to eat souls or for what purpose, you do know one particular thing that does in fact eat souls to sustain itself, and that would be a lich. They feed souls into their phylactery to keep themselves alive.
Do
That's how
I
they
know,
sustain
like,
their immortality.
I don't know if it's demons or devil. Liz, for some reason, in her head, feels like demons or devils use souls, like with contract devils, like they make contracts for souls and stuff, right? As well.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. This could be Liz wrong, but
I would say if anybody wanted to as well, you could give me religion checks, because that would fall under that, just to see. Oh, pretty good. Donequin not so much. Yeah, Bad's not so much. Aelin and Archie and Jonah. Yeah, Aelin, Archie, and Jonah. The three of you, as you're kind of discussing this, I'm assuming you guys are still walking with Emberon, back wading towards the shore. You do, as you know, just on the discussion of souls. Yes, devils in particular trade souls as currency in the Nine Hells.
Mm.
Often they trap souls in what are known as soul coins, and are used as a currency in the Nine Hells. The greater the power of the soul, or the more valuable it is. Particularly those pure-hearted are the most valuable. So things like paladins and very devout, kind of good people, those souls are worth the most. But yeah,
but they don't tend to like consume nor destroy them. They trade them, so they're still
they trade them and they use them for their own power. They can as well, souls that go to the Nine Hells can be through the use of collecting souls, devils and demons can use them to transform themselves to higher levels. So if you start out as a lowly imp, if you collect enough souls, you can essentially use the power of those souls to transform yourself into like a Balgura maybe, and then that's how you like attain ranks and up to and including the archdevils.
Gotcha.
So the person who has the most soul power in the Nine Hells is Asmodeus, the Lord of the Nine Hells.
Haven't some people gotten godhood through souls?
With a 16, rumor has it, yes, potentially. Okay. But you don't know any specifics of it with your roll.
Fair.
But potentially, yeah, souls are a powerful extra-planar, like cosmic force. They're fragment. Some people consider souls fragments of divinity. They're granted to mortals by the gods, and that's why they're so valuable. Because the more you can gather, the more power you can amass. At least
that makes
on a cosmological
sense.
sense.
Get you guys to sign this contract about adventuring. No need to read it. Just sign that the dotted line.
So with the lich, like a lich phylactery, is it kind of like what I saw in that it tends to hold them, until the lich sort of needs to consume them?
You got a 24?
24.
Yeah. So yeah, a lich's phylactery, yes, can hold a very limited number of souls, and yeah, the lich doesn't have to consume them immediately. You don't know. I mean, it varies, obviously. You don't know all the exact details of how often or how many souls, and whether the power of the soul. Maybe you have to eat less. Like if you eat like peasant souls, it's probably not as nourishing as like a paladin soul, for example. But yes, liches phylacteries can store souls to keep themselves alive. Basically, the more souls they can carry, the longer they can go before having to procure more, because they can store them. That said, with a 24, you don't know exactly. From what you understand, phylacteries tend to be very small, usually well hidden. Sometimes things that are very innocuous, so you wouldn't know exactly what they are. And
because you destroy a phylactery, you destroy the lich, right?
Well, you prevent as long as the phylactery exists, a lich can reform itself at the location of its phylactery. Once the phylactery is gone, the lich doesn't die per se. They can remake another phylactery given enough time. But if you kill the lich while the phylactery is destroyed, the lich dies forever.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like a vampire. Yeah. Like, vampires can resurrect, but if you kill them in their coffin or have no resting place, they can't.
So we just gotta trap them in a coffin and sink them in the ocean.
Maybe we've already done that.
That's our MO. Case closed.
What was the first thing that he said about it being under the Forbidden City?
Oh, that he said the death curse will grip the world from beneath the Forbidden City.
But there was a first part to that.
When the soulmonger grinds and the exiled Nasi wraps himself in serpents.
The exiled Nasi?
Nasi, the beret.
That's
the
one that saw us.
Which he's done, clearly, because we know he's in league with the Yonti. So
yeah.
Gotcha.
Is Omu the Forbidden City? Is it Forbidden City of Omu? Okay,
Yeah. You've heard it referred to alternately as the Lost City and the Forbidden
The
City.
Lost. Oh, okay. I knew the Lost City. I just couldn't remember if we had.
It is forbidden.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember if it was that too. Okay. Yes. All right. Well, I mean.
So at this
other
point,
than
you guys have like
seeing-
climbed out of the lake, and you're kind of on the shore, heading back towards the camp.
Yeah. So, I mean, other than seeing what seems to actually be the direct cause of the death curse, which is good. So, those, we know what we're looking for.
Yeah,
Oh,
it seems
It just confirms that we're to do what we were going to do anyway.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
just a lowly lich.
Well, it could be.
That's a possibility.
That's like they would do that, but this doesn't seem like a normal
lich
lich
or a
phylactery.
devil.
It could be something neither. Just using the same sort of principle.
But nevertheless, it seems like, the death curse seems like it's originating from Omu. That's the impression that I get, and we need to go to Oralunga to
Find the
obtain
path.
more help or knowledge.
Yeah, which is, it confirms where Blackwind's visions were pointing him.
Emberon's been listening to all of your guys' talk as you've been walking, and just kind of like contemplating, and he's like, this is all very interesting. I knew my work would pay off here.
Turns into a bat and flies away.
Season Omu!
You bubbling boobs! You fell right into my trap!
I wish I could have. Yeah.
I'm
I'm
gonna look
hungry.
Anybody want that?
Are you
One of
guys
those
hungry?
weird pig things?
Anybody want a peanut?
I'm gonna look over at Donaquin. I mean, did anything from that experience sort of seem to be in line with what brought you here?
It was just a lot of information also for it, also, which was good. That was mainly also coming down here, was to figure out the information. More else to go. Pretty much, I think.
Oh, certainly got that, I think.
Yeah.
Well, it seems if this is the path you're on, it seems like maybe you should probably stick with us. Since that's where we're to go as well.
I am in debt to all of you also for saving my life. So, if you will have me as a companion also, I would gladly continue the journey with you.
Stick with us, kid. You'll make it big. I swear you will.
Thanks, see?
Have you ever been to the port up north?
What was the name of the port?
I'm pretty sure at some point Donaquin would have been up to Port Nanzaro.
Port Nanzaro. Okay.
It's like the main port on the continent, and with the amount of travel that you did, I can't see you not at some point stepping foot in the port.
Oh, right. Donaquin's old.
Yeah.
I forgot.
He's pretty well traveled.
In the port.
So old.
So old.
Feel like I'm only 120 though.
Right?
A spry 100.
Emberon kind of like, as you guys re-enter the camp, he's like, well, you're welcome to spend the night here if you like. There are rooms available. You've rid us of the beast nearby. I will record everything we saw. And then he kind of thinks for a bit, and he's like, so, if you're seeking for some reason the soulmonger, I would caution that Nasi, I'm not sure if you're familiar, is one of the exiled beret of Mezro, the city that we stand in. And like, I had a feeling, perhaps based on what I've learned here, that maybe he was still around, but if you'd like to learn more, I suggest the temple in the center of the city.
you'd like to more, please enter $5 now.
Yeah, but
Yeah, we were in the temple there.
Like, oh, you were already. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Of course.
We weren't looking for specifically on the sea, but I asked about the beret and got some general knowledge.
yeah, seems like most traces of of his
Existence.
doings have been purposefully erased. from the temple.
Perhaps. And then he kind of like he looks over at Laren and he's like, Laren, would you show our guests to where they can spend the night? And
Well, is Masika's not with us, right? She's
she's
back at the
expecting
temple.
us back at the temple. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably not stay unless anyone else wants to.
Do we have much time? Is it dark? What's our lighting situation?
Yeah, it's basically.
Yeah, the sun's gone down entirely. So it's like, at this point, it'd probably be like 8:30, maybe 8:15, something like that.
This was around the time that we saw the that skeletal guy.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, but he was on.
It was a little later.
The other
but
quadrant,
yeah.
though.
Yeah, when the sun went down is when you heard those howls and everything. Now,
Okay.
you didn't, as you were way over here and whatever, you didn't actually hear anything when the sun went down this time. But maybe you were just
And they
too
said
far
he's
away.
not there every night.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if we're not that far from the wall. As long as we get up on the wall and head back towards the temple, I think we can make it back in the dark. But it's up to you all. I'm happy to stay here if you'd like.
Sure.
I'm kind of worried about our friend, I guess. Partly.
Yeah,
just
I
because
don't.
I couldn't remember if she was with us or not. I kind of assumed she was. But...
She said she was gonna hang out in the temple, and then if.
Because our plan was to sleep in the temple.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Okay. Well, yeah, I guess we're not too far. We should be able to, if
Sure.
traveled carefully.
Yeah.
Back the way we came.
Jonah, do you concur?
Oh, I don't have a strong opinion.
Okay.
Dangerous to go alone. Take this.
Emran's kind of like muttering to himself, and he kind of he's like, he looks at you. He's like, well, you're staying. There's room. If you're heading back, I wish you the best of luck. And then he's like, I wonder what it meant by it was a fragment. You think that meant something? Could have mean something.
Yeah, it said it was like a fragment or a vessel. Simply
A
vessel.
fragment of a falling star.
Yeah, a fragment of what? Yeah.
I share that just to see what his reaction is. How I saw the fragment of the obsidian meteorite, I guess. It's how he explained.
Yeah, he's kind of thinks for a bit, and he's like, well, obsidian sky broke down a lot of strange happenings and a lot of interesting phenomena around those times.
Is that that's when you saw the obsidian meteor was at the same time as the obsidian sky? Is that the meteor that Blackwind is talking about? When did that fall?
Well, he saw it in a crater in the dream.
Yeah.
So there's no indication in dream though of when that was. Is my question.
Well, I mean,
No.
he
But
just saw a crater with the But I mean, everybody knows that plenty of meteors fell during the obsidian sky.
Yeah. And it was a fragment of many, it seems.
Yeah, like
But
wasn't that big? Basically, remember the meta-wise. Remember that literally the Atropos, the moon, it was like the size of like a moon, right?
Right.
So when he was coming through, there was fragments of obsidian, like meteors and stuff, falling all over the place, caused tons of devastation.
I just assumed they were normal rocks, though. Whereas it seems like whatever you saw in this crater was not just a normal piece of obsidian.
It's possible, yeah.
it is also a vision too, so it's not exactly or a dream, which makes them very awkward, I guess, and vague.
And he says, "Well, as I said, I came all the way out here to Chult to follow up on dreams and visions, and as divination hasn't been working, my entire school of study seems to have become far less reliable, and I don't know.
Seems like it worked tonight.
Indeed.
Wasn't so much. It seemed more present, tied to present too, though.
Well, no, but I mean, he said he saw it, and the beret knew of it, and that all points to prophecy of a sort.
Yeah. Shall we? I mean, I don't know. I don't think I want to share much more than that, just because I know that I don't want to share it with this guy. I don't quite know what to think of him.
Okay.
But I wanted to share that to see how that piqued his interest, but I don't think it really caught anything. So.
Yeah, not really. Like he didn't seem. I mean, he was kind of. He didn't seem all that surprised when you told him that you had vision, but he told you earlier that pretty much everybody that's shown up here has said they've been having visions, right? So.
Well, so did Donequin.
Well, Donequin didn't have visions. His master did.
My master and that was the one on stuff that had the vision on stuff with the crocodile, which sent me.
Someone Donequin knows.
All right, you guys. So what's the plan? Are you guys gonna stay here? Anything else you want to do here, or are you gonna head back to the temple, or?
I think the plan is to head back to the temple because we don't want to just leave.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Yeah.
I don't want to make Masika worried and have that be a thing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think the plan is to head back.
Well, Embron wishes you luck. He thanks you again for ridding them of the beast. He says that he will continue to record anything that the Mudmaw speaks of, but he has a feeling that you guys have perhaps was a catalyst, and he's wondering how much more this creature will actually impart. But his work here is not finished, so he wishes you luck, and leaves you to it.
Thanks for your hospitality.
Thank you. Yes, and
Yeah.
try and go a little bit easy on the psychotropics, maybe.
And he smiles. Laren, he's right near you guys. He's just like, wow. I mean, you have to expand your mind to truly understand the visions.
Gotta open that third eye, brother.
Pretty much.
Have some Kool-Aid.
Okay, elf number 2.
Hopefully the flaming fist
He
will.
kind of scowls at you.
I mean, if it if we run into the Flaming Fist, we can let them know that if they're looking for treasure, I mean, there's clearly nothing over here. Try and keep them off your back.
He nods. He's like, I'd be appreciative. As I said, they've been focused on the other parts of the city for the most part. Hopefully they'll just leave us alone long enough for me to learn whatever it is I can here. I suspect I might be here for quite some time yet. There's a lot to unpack.
Are we going to travel the same way we arrived?
I think so.
Yeah, might as well.
What?
As well.
Okay.
I'm going to kind of just shoot off a little bit ahead, just to make
Don't
sure.
get too far. It's real dark.
Here we got moonlight.
I do my best work in the dark.
All right. Well, you guys
That's
make.
magic.
I mean, you guys know the way. So you make your way. As you kind of make your way across over to the wall, you will find as you get up on the wall that the city seems to be pretty quiet tonight. There's no... You don't really see any movement at all in the Scholars District. It's just like dark, completely like just pitch black over there. You can see a few torches burning and across the city, but you don't see any like fireballs or explosions or anything coming from this section. It just seems dark as well. But as you make your way along the wall and get inside of the temple, you will notice that there is what looks to be kind of in the sky, just north of you here. You can see what looks to be you're not sure what it is in the dark. You can just kind of make out like a silhouette a little bit further off, but it looks to be some sort of like winged creature. Kind of further back, near where this like large structures where you saw them. It's kind of like wheeling about in the air, and from a few, you see it kind of like land, but you don't see where it lands exactly. But it kind of swoops down and lands, and then a few moments later, you see that it comes back in the air and then kind of takes off to the northwest. It's kind of like out of the city.
What was this, like a sparrow?
No, it was a large winged creature. You're not sure what it was. It's just kind of this black, kind of like silhouette against the sky. Too far away to see any real details.
I wish we could go in and kill all of them. I don't like them in that area.
Charge the stronghold.
But yeah, nothing accosts you as you make your way down the tower across the water and find yourself at the temple.
And thankfully, no flaming fist either.
No flaming fist hanging out. The boats are also that were tied up are gone as well.
Okay. Well, let's go in and see if we can find
Masika.
More than a pair of boots, hopefully.
Hopefully.
There's no more big spherical tunnels in
Imprints.
foliage anywhere.
Nope.
Ding dong ditch.
All right. Well, I mean, she was in the throne room or audience room last time.
Yep.
Go there first.
Yeah.
Sure. You guys know how to navigate this place, so you find yourselves moments later stepping through the portal into the audience room. There, you see Masika cross-legged sitting on the throne, kind of seemingly in a meditative state. You can see kind of around her, there is like a very subtle kind of like yellow, kind of like gold glow, kind of like an aura almost around her.
hate to disturb her.
He probably knows we're here.
But I will.
Hey, girl!
The throne suits you.
Her eye kind of like, one of her eyes kind of like pops open, and then she then her other eye, and she stands up. The glow kind of like fades, leaving just a little bit of like an after image, and she hops down off. She's like, "Ah, you're back. Everyone in good shape?" She kind of like looks you over, and she's like, "Oh, Blackwin, Baz, you look like you've taken a few lumps."
Blackwood got eaten.
Yeah,
He did.
I had to take care of
It was good for the skin.
a local beast problem.
It's like, "Oh, well,
well.
hopefully you gave as good as you got then."
It was Valoway.
Well,
Yep.
I
We
got
did.
this trophy.
Oh, yeah. We were going to look at that. We'll have to do that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Now that there's a sit-down time.
Yeah, so I think the plan, rest here in the residential area and then take off.
Bounce, yeah, because we initially thought that, we're well, the question one is, do you feel comfortable with your map situation?
Well, I was gonna get to that.
Okay. Because yeah, like the number of days that we have left to get back to the boat was a little bit less than I think what we thought.
Well, the plan I think was to leave tomorrow so that we had enough time to get back.
Oh yeah, it was like to give ourselves like a decent enough buffer.
Yeah, it was like it'll give us a 4-day buffer to get back to the boat, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because so I guess if we're avoiding the Scholar Ward, we don't need to go there. The residential ward seems there's nothing specific that we're looking for in there. So I'm not sure we need to go that way, which means we're, as far as I can tell, we're pretty much done here.
Yeah, I think that is it possible that there's more to these ruins than we know about? Sure, but is it worth the time to to go on a wild goose chase when we essentially got what we came for?
Yeah.
I could catch a wild goose.
So then
I believe you.
So the question becomes, what do I give the fist in terms of map?
I mean, I think we just leave.
You really want to go approach them again?
Well,
it'll be another thing they'll shake us down for next.
Well, it's that or they look for us after we leave.
Yeah, it's burning a bridge that I'm not sure we need to burn.
Especially just for a map.
They
Just for
extortion it.
Did they?
I get that, but
did they specifically say that they want us to go to them before we leave? And
they said they want a copy of any of the maps that.
Well, sure, but you haven't made the maps yet.
Right, but my assumption is they don't want me to leave until I do. Was my.
You're a fool if you think they're gonna let you leave.
Well, then we leave by force, but
I
out of the center of their forces.
Yeah, it's my opinion that tomorrow morning we get up and we intend to just leave the way that we came in. If we happen to run across them, then we let them know, oh, we're just getting a higher vantage point.
So lie to them?
So you're straight up lying. Is your plan? Lie and run, burn the bridge. They have my name.
That's a good point.
I say just give them what they want. It's not that big of a cost.
Why not just leave something at the entrance of the temple? We don't have to go to them. You can just stick a rock on a stack of shitty maps. They don't have to be good.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I don't have to necessarily give them good maps. Just
then if we do run into somebody, we can say we left it at the temple.
Yeah,
and if we
we're
don't,
in a hurry.
It's on them.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's a good compromise.
I like that.
You seem to think that they're very logical and compromising. I see them as hooligans and basically blackmailers.
Okay, so who's to say
we work for them now?
Of them is right.
Who's what?
Like if I view them in one way and you view them in the other, what makes you think your view is the right one versus mine?
Well, they literally extortionists.
Right, but that doesn't mean they can't be compromised with either. Everybody usually has to bend to a certain extent to get what they want. I'm not saying I like them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I would like to take the path of least resistance because I'm here to do a job and I don't want to have to fight around them at every turn.
And what's the worst that happens if we give them the map? What's the worst that happens if we don't give them the map?
The worst if we don't, we get away.
I like the idea. I like the idea of leaving the map there. My issue isn't giving them the map. It's going over to their main area and doing. I don't like that. Hence my idea of just leaving.
I totally agree with Baz with not having to go into like their main area as well. It seems like more of a risk off stuff than we need to take, and in certain being in that situation.
You know, because once we're there and we're in their home base, then if they say, yeah, we want more than a map, we want this, that we're not willing to give them, and then we're forced into a fight, and now we have literally all of them around us. Whereas if we run into a small handful of them and have the same interaction, we are at far greater odds.
I agree, which is why I asked what we wanted to do, because I don't want to just walk straight in, and that was sort of my point of bringing up the discussion was an alternate. But I think Aylin's idea is pretty good. Draw a map and
I can also cover our trail as well.
But like I say, because they have my name and they know where I'm from, literally they could just kill me. And I'd rather not.
Give them the right to come over to try to kill you. They don't have an assassination.
Again,
how do you know?
Just a map. We'll just leave them a map.
Yeah.
It's not going to cost us anything but some parchment.
Yeah. Okay. I will draw a map tonight. I'll just like draw out some of the main rooms and like half or something.
Yeah, just like a shitty version, basically a shitty map. They don't know how good you are at your job. So.
Sure. And like I say, it'll just be like a single parchment with just like room A, room B, C and D kind of thing. Like I found a couple of rooms and there's just a note that it's just like rooms seem random.
White portal, go back. Black portal, go
White,
forward.
yeah. I like it.
Tell them how to get to the bad room.
All the treasure is in Nasi's prayer room.
I wouldn't mind that.
Seek it out.
Masika would also tell you, as you guys are discussing what to do upon the morrow after you rest, she would tell you, she's like, well, I was going to wait till morning, but since you're all discussing it now, I'm just going to let you know, I am going to be staying here. I won't be departing with you.
Oh.
But I thought there wasn't much to find here.
She's like, this place is the closest I've been to home, and I feel I belong here, and I feel I'm just beginning to really understand this place, kind of like gesturing to the temple around you. He's like, the longer I stay here, the more, it's hard to explain, the more in tune I feel and
Connected.
I'm not ready to leave. I do believe, and I've been thinking on this since you left after you shared all that you saw. I believe that Artis is correct in that there may be a way to bring, if not bring the real Mezro back, to at least bridge
Mm-hmm. A permanent bridge between the two.
And I think the images you saw in the prayer rooms are the key to doing that. I don't know what they all mean, but I feel like this place is trying to tell us, to show us the way.
This is the way.
But if you choose to go down this path and assist Artis in his quest, I feel like it's even more important that I stay here and not allow this knowledge to fall into anyone else's hands. It would be bad enough if Karanok is also aware of these things. Who's to say they haven't seen what you've seen? But as long as I'm here, perhaps I can prevent any who would be seeking that knowledge from finding it and causing undue problems for you as you go about whatever you're planning on doing next. She's like, plus, and she kind of like walks over to the throne and kind of like closes her eyes and like concentrates for a moment, and you see the portal leading out vanish.
Whoa!
She's like, yeah, I can close the door behind you.
How? How do you do that? How do you do that?
As I said, I feel in tune to this place. Unfortunately, I don't think I can do it from outside. Hence another reason why I should stay. Should you ever need to get back here, I can keep anyone else out. There's ample enough food in the kitchens here. And I can venture out whenever I need to. Anyways,
well,
I thought you should know, so in case you were making plans, assuming that I would be traveling with you.
Sure.
If you do venture out, at least in the near future, I would avoid the Scholar District. It seems like that's where the House Karanok forces are currently staying. But if you're looking for allies, the Children of the Crocodile, is that their name?
Yeah.
Also seem to be opposed the Flaming Fist. And they were very gracious in accepting us.
Interesting.
A little weird, but good people.
It's like, would you trust them to enter the temple?
I don't know that there would be any harm. I don't know if they're particularly interested in entering the temple.
I couldn't see there being much harm in it. Just because, they don't seem... Their interest seems to lie with Mudmaw.
Illicit drugs and Mudmaw.
It's like, well, at least I can keep Karanok and the Fist out as best I can and hold down the fort, as it were. I don't know.
Does she have any message or anything she wants us to take back to port? To the people back there that she was working with?
She shakes her head. She's like, no, not in particular. However, I'm not sure what your plans are next. Where will you be traveling? Back to port or to the ship
to the ship first, then to port.
I suppose what I'm really asking is not necessarily where you're going next, but what is your plan? What is your next steps? Are you pursuing Artis's quest to restore Mezro, or I know you came here looking for answers for various the death curse and such. So
we may be able to do both. We haven't really straight up discussed it, but They're both to the west, so we may be able to like swing around and hit both on the way.
Where does Artis's quest take us?
It's in the west side of the mountains. I have to pull. Okay, so
They be one and the same.
it's like right in here.
Maybe it's the moving mountain.
That was further south
Never mind.
and west.
Never mind.
But it's that whole mountain range, the storm racked mountains. So Artis's was like over in this little hook, and then the rest is to the south. So it would only be like a few hexes out of the off of the.
And what specifically would we be looking for?
There's a village there.
Yeah.
Which I'm gonna do some research when we get back to the port. But basically in the mountains, there's a mountain village up there. That's the next step for the artist one.
Nice.
So now that we're talking about it, my suggestion is we swing by there on our way south to the Guardian.
Yeah.
Otherwise we're going past it all the way
Yeah.
down
Sure.
and having to come back again before going over. It feels like it's, we could probably knock out both in that journey by adding a few extra days.
Yeah. I'm
Maybe a week, but
I'm
we're already
down.
it's gonna be a month long journey at least, right? So
sure.
adding another week is not the end of the world if we're already going that way. That was my thought anyway, but so we may, those are the two basically like things on our plate, is going to that village and seeking out the Guardian.
Masika kind of looks at you and she's like, the Guardian of Orlunga?
The wise Guardian of Orlunga.
It's like, I don't know if it means anything, but
That's me.
if it's me, no, if it's helpful at all, the priestesses at Kir Sabal used to speak of an offering required to access Orlunga. Obviously, there a Kokr can fly, makes navigating the land of Chult quite a bit easier, as you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
But they used to speak of pilgrimages there. I don't know if it's helpful at all, but from my understanding, it's not just a matter of just showing up, that it requires some sort of specific offering. I know this isn't helpful, but because I don't know what this offering is, but if you're going there, you may need to know that.
Well, that's another thing for us to research.
Well-
Unless we have it in our adventuring journals.
Can we maybe research it in this library before we go?
Yeah.
I'm not sure that. I mean, so here's my. Kir Sabal is much closer to where we are currently. If
Yeah.
we think that's where we needed to go to look into this, it would be. So we could go back to the ship. We can keep the ship. We can pay them to hold on to stay.
Yeah.
But if we think going to Kir Sabal is the only way to get this information, it would be much easier to do that now than to go all the way back to port and come all the way back again.
Yeah. Where is? Well,
It's like it's
Down the river.
It's down the river from here. It's not super close, but it's close. We're much closer to it here than at any other
the
time.
Arakakra Monastery.
Yeah.
So we just
Masika just kind of shrugs and she's like, I spent some time there, as I
Yeah.
said when I first reappeared, and they're peaceful people. They keep to themselves, but I do know that they know this land and they may be able to help you. That's all I can suggest. Anyways.
okay. So just for the sake of out of character, we're talking about the potentially spending the next few days traveling back to where the ship is,
Right,
For
because
the
otherwise
sake-
they're gonna leave.
for the sake of letting them know that we need another week, right? Or more.
Or more.
I mean, I think that is a good logical.
We brought the
course of
canoes
action.
with us, right? We latched them onto the boat when we came. The canoes, because we asked specifically if that we could.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys have your.
So
you took the canoes to the beach when you first came in.
Yeah,
They're at Port Castigliar right now. That's where you left them.
Okay.
So we could go down the River Olong on the canoes.
To an extent, it's not a great canoeing river. We'd have.
No,
There's a lot of portaging.
Isn't that the other one? Isn't that the
No.
the Tariki?
Tariki, I'm pretty sure we canoe down.
I thought it
We
was.
just haven't.
Well,
that-
either river would require some stretches of portaging.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so-
just didn't we wasn't this one, weren't we told that Olong was pretty terrible for travel on? Am I mistaken?
No, from what you were told of the River Olong is that because it's got the mouth of the river shortly south of the mouth of the river, it becomes kind of like a gorge with kind of this twisting kind of canyon that the river runs through for quite a few miles as it heads south. So there would be stretches of like portaging necessary. I don't know if I think maybe it was Azaka who told you this, but most people would like essentially portage beyond the gorge, and then once you're past that, you could canoe further up the river without too much problem. Because portaging like in the bottom of the gorge in the river, where there's a lot of like rapids and falls and rocks and things, not a lot of places you could pull over, if you will, is not ideal. So until you get beyond that gorge of Ataz Muhaha, there's not it's difficult to travel by canoe. Like you'd pretty much be following the river, but just along the top of the gorge overlooking the river until you get beyond that section.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then we need to go east.
East?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
that's where Kirsabal is. It's east of the river, after the gorge.
Yeah, it's on the east side of the river.
Oh, east side. Okay. Apparently, there's also something called Zakore on the eastern shore of River Oland. Something to do with Nangalore. North of Lake Laro.
you know that the river. Well, you don't know exactly, but from what you've discovered so far,
Oland goes down to Lake Luo.
Yeah, Lake Luo, it basically is where the River Olong originates.
Yeah.
So you know that the Garden Palace of Nangalore is also on the eastern side, somewhere north of Lake Luo.
Gotcha.
So
right.
you assume somewhere between Kirsabal and Lake Luo, but you don't know the distances involved in any of that.
Sure. So. Yeah, so that's... Yeah, I don't know. So the only other Orolunga connection that I have, that I have specifically, is that at the funeral, the flowers that were there had the blessing of Orolunga. Flower at the funeral hall had blessings of Orolunga, the purple orchid with the red henna. I don't know if that's connected at all, but...
Sorry, there was a bunch of, it sounded like tinfoil shaking or something, so I missed what you said there.
Brad, what you doing? Wait. Brad's baking food.
No, it's okay. The sound of the tinfoil cut. At least for me, anyways, I couldn't understand the last sentence you said.
Sorry, I was saying that the only other Orolunga connection I have that could maybe be connected to whatever this gift or whatever needed is that the purple orchids with the red center flowers that were at the funeral. I have a note that says they had the blessings of Orolunga. something to do with those flowers. I don't know if it's connected, but it's the only other Orlunga connection that I have directly written. Because you did have... I'm trying to think back. My notes... I need to go through my notes again. But there was something in... We did learn something about Orlunga.
I mean, we learned that Iku wants to go there.
Yeah, but there was... Maybe it was...
You also learned that the shrine of Tomoa-chan, where this Blood King apparently resides, is right near there.
It's near there. I thought there was something to do with some sort of offering or something before that we were told or saw in a vision or something, but I can't remember now. There was some sort of test or something. Isn't there some sort of test to see the Guardian?
I mean, that's what this sounds like.
Well, no, but I feel like we were specifically told that. I don't know. Liz has a bad memory. My memory sucks.
What if, well, this may just make things more complicated. I know we had talked about seeing where River Olung might connect with Tariki, or no, yeah, Tariki.
I mean, we don't know that it does, do we? Is that something we know for sure that they do connect?
No. No, you don't know, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, no, if it's... At one point we had discussed, instead of taking the boat back, following the river and trying to take the river back. But if not worth attempting if we're not sure that it's a thing that exists.
Like, I mean, we know roughly where the Tariki comes down south, so if we were to head east, we would probably hit the Tariki at some point and could take it north to get back to the port.
West, you mean, if you head west.
Yeah, that's what I meant, west.
Okay.
Sorry.
If you head east, you'll hit Olung. If you head west, you probably will hit Tariki. Yeah. But
yeah, and if we miss the Tariki, if we keep going west, we're going to hit Soshenstar. Like, we know the rivers are west of us. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, eventually, yes. If you keep going west, you'll hit Soshenstar for sure. You know where that one is, so...
But, yeah, so we know Tariki's probably only a couple of days west of us, more than likely, because we know it goes south. But it doesn't necessarily connect.
No, I think
so,
the boat's a better idea.
Well, but we could, like I say, we could go back to the boat. We could send the boat back, keep our canoes, and we could technically canoe around the coast as well. Like we don't. Yeah. But it's pretty dangerous, isn't it? Up towards the northern.
Well, number one, the only thing I would say to that, just because you guys have experienced it, if you get one of those like ocean storms, like you experienced on the boat, if you were on canoes and something like that rolled in, that would be like deadly. So
it'll also take us like 3 weeks.
Yeah, it would take us a lot longer to get back.
To canoe all the way around the coastline, yeah. But
yeah.
Not impossible is what you're saying.
I think we rely on the ship, and then if for some reason we lose the ship, then we try and cross to the river and take it up there. I don't think going around the coast makes a lot of sense.
Well, it's just like, so the ship can't go down the river. So I guess the question is are we going to Kirsabal before we leave this side of the island?
I think we should.
That's the main question.
I do think that's... If we think that there is a more than 50% chance that we get a good clue about what we need in order to even find or talk to the Guardians of Orlunga by going to Kirsabal, and we're already down here, then I think it's worth the trip while we're here. But I also think that going to the boat first is also smart.
Well, I mean, unless we're losing the boat, we have to go to the boat. Unless we're just giving it up.
Yeah.
We have to go back. And we'd have to go back to get our canoes and stuff anyway. So there's no reason not to. I guess the question then becomes, do we pay to keep the boat or do we send it back?
I mean, that's really a decision that doesn't need to be made to get back to at least the Port Castigliar, right?
Sure. I guess. Maybe they're not even there. Maybe we missed them and it's a moot point.
It's like a cow's opinion.
Schrodinger's boat. It's both there and not.
It's moo.
Oralunga, banks of the Mistcliff Mountains, exact location unknown, reference to name Saja Nabaza, priestess or oracle or guardian. She lived in. Legends speak of a magical protections. You must climb the stairs, tests or trial to pass. I knew we had specifically looked that up. I looked up Oralunga when I was at the library. And that's where what I was saying is coming from. When I looked it up at the library, it said there was a reference to the name Saja Nabaza, priestess or oracle or guardian. There's a reference to a ziggurat that she lived in. The legends speak of magical protections. Must climb stairs, tests or trial to pass.
I can climb stairs.
I can't.
I mean, it's a little...
I'm assuming the stairs are a little
it's a little exhausting, but
yeah,
you know.
But there's tests along the way. It didn't mention a... What was it? Gift? Sacrifice? Is that what it said? An offering. Thank you. So, I don't remember how well I rolled, though, to get that information.
Your character wouldn't know that anyway, so it doesn't matter.
No, but she would have an idea of how deeply she researched it while she was in the library. Like, I guess can we research the same thing twice? Like, I guess, Mike, like, from a character point of view, would she think that she was done looking into that, or that there could be more dug up, I guess, is what the role would inform me, sort of whether Archie would think she could find any more.
Yeah, yes and no. I think that's a really hard question to even answer. Because, like, if you, in real life, went to a library to look something up, how would you know what you didn't find?
Yeah.
Well, right, but it's not whether you know it for sure. It's the feeling in your gut of, okay, I've pulled 15 books. There doesn't seem to be many more references. If I'm gonna find anything else, I really gotta reach for obscure things. And, you know, I feel like I'm not gonna find anything else here. There's a difference between, that's a legitimate, okay, I don't think I can find more. Or, I spent an hour, I pulled 3 books, I got this information. Yeah, I feel like I could probably,
How long did you spend there?
4 hours?
And was it the only
Not
thing
on
you
that one
researched?
subject.
So, given the amount of time, if you were a scholar and went to a library for an hour looking something up, how would you know if you've exhausted every lead in that library? Like, you were there an hour, 2 hours, looking at various things, right? So, I don't think it's a question that I can't answer that. It would be, if it's a gut feeling, it's based on what you think Archie feels. I don't think there's a way to know.
Archie.
I mean, you're more Archie than I am.
I think that it's almost impossible that you would have exhausted every single avenue.
I'm not saying every single avenue.
I know, but I know.
But an hour is a long time for somebody who is really good at research. She'd have a feeling of whether she thinks there's a lot more she could pull to look into, or whether she got to a point of, I pulled a couple and didn't really find many, like a lead there that stuck out to me. So I feel like it would take me a long time to get anything else. You know what I mean?
I suppose.
Does that not make sense to anybody else?
Well, but I think the point is that whether it's easy to find something else or hard to find something else, there is something else to find. So it doesn't really matter if you spent an hour on it or if you spent a day on it, because it could be buried in some weird esoteric book that has nothing to do with what you're looking for.
Right, but if I'm currently doing it, right, when my time runs out, I've got 15 leads that I think I could easily pull a million more books versus I'm already struggling to look for something. That's a very different
Sounds like
ending.
it's answering your own question, though. You've got leads, whether
But
you know
I
they're
don't
true or not.
know what, and that's the thing. I'm asking, I guess, and I don't even know if you know what I rolled to even answer the question of whether I could get a feeling of how it was left.
You're saying if in the hypothetical situation that in that hour and Corey asked you to roll a investigation and you rolled like a 30, that you would assume that you found pretty much everything that you found. So
within the time, but I'd have an idea. If I rolled high, I'd have an idea if there was a lot of leads I could still look into to get more.
I think without knowing what that original roll was, then it's hard to know.
I'd have to go back and look. I guess it's just the reason I bring it up is because it informs what her suggestion would be. Whether she's like, yeah, I think I could find a bunch more information.
I'll say this much: with only spending like an hour looking up a thing, or even not even half a day in the library looking up various things, I don't think Archie would be super confident that she exhausted that library, especially since Archie didn't even have access to just go and pull books as she wanted willy-nilly. She had to ask someone else to get her books when she found something. So to have any clue as to the extent of what's in that library, I would say that Archie would have no confidence that she exhausted that library. Because you don't know how much is in that library. You don't know how many books could have been pulled that guy just didn't pull for you. Like, if you had free reign to just wander around and chase every little thing, sure, maybe. But if you were there for like an hour, and I think you vastly are underestimating the time it takes to research stuff. Like, an hour is nothing. You could spend an hour on a single book, just trying to understand what you're reading. Even if you could comprehend language and understand like, if think about it, if you go to a library and you open up an encyclopedia, how long would it take you to read an article, let alone if you didn't know exactly where you're looking for, right? Like, you could spend an entire hour just kind of like reading and understanding like the 30, 40 pages here without even like,
which is one of my questions.
People research things for months sometimes in libraries, right? So to say that you've exhausted it, I would say Archie would have zero confidence she's exhausted the library's resources.
I never assumed she ever would have exhausted anything in an hour. My question was more if in that hour she was already struggling to find like references that informs that it's going to take a long time. Not that there's nothing there was my question.
I mean, there's always going to be footnotes leading to other books, and who knows what's in another book. You don't even know if the other books that maybe were referenced in those books are even at that library. So you can go down a rabbit hole. It's like Wikipedia. You click a link and it leads to another link, to another link, to another link. To know where that ends, who knows? Like, it's... I don't see how I could possibly answer that question. Because, number one, meta-wise, it's not like I know every single word and what links to another word in the book, so I can't answer this question because we didn't physically... You don't roleplay it out. It's an abstraction based on a roll, how much information you got, right? You probably got a whole bunch more details that I didn't actually say because, like I said, I don't have the physical books to give you all the information on what links to what.
Sure, but you know how much information you gave me, I guess.
Sure.
And so when I asked the question,
if you make a roll and you get high on the roll, all that means is you found this information. That doesn't mean you found a bunch of information. Like it's an abstraction,
right,
so
no.
I can't. Basically, end of the line is you don't know. You just don't know whether you've exhausted your leads, and you probably have more outstanding questions, and you probably have other books you could probably pull. So,
sure, of course.
So
what's the question? Forget it. Just.
I don't know what else you want. Basically,
I'm explaining myself wrong, and I don't think anybody's understanding my actual question. So I'm just gonna leave it.
Okay.
I don't know. So yeah. I don't know what you guys want to do. So Baz wants to go.
Yeah, I'm voting that yes, we do this. That's it.
that we're staying
Anybody else?
or going to the.
I mean, I wanted to go to Kirsabal before we knew it had anything to do with Orlunga, but I also didn't expect that, we would take this time to go out of our way to do it because, it wasn't really important for everybody.
Let's go back to the ship first.
Yeah, that's
No matter what we do, we're going back to the ship. That's,
Right,
there's
yeah.
no question there.
Yeah.
Well, let's work on that and see what happens at the ship.
okay.
I mean, we've all made plans on this before, and then we found out shit has hit the fan.
Well, sure, but I mean, the ship's either there or it isn't. I don't think
Or
either of those informs.
The ship has hit the fan.
Ship has hit the fan. Har har har.
Aha! I'm gonna go now.
See myself out. Okay, so all right then. And sleep time.
Yeah, and I guess look into the weapon.
Oh yeah,
I guess-
forgot about that.
Was
Yeah,
it just the weapon? Or was there two pieces? It was just the weapon, right? For some reason, I thought we had two things to identify, but again.
You have two? I don't know. Do you have another thing?
It was the weapon, and that's all I remember finding in the corpses or whatever they were.
Sure. Well, it's easy enough to, it's easy enough to identify, given you're having a rest. I guess technically you have to wait till morning when Jonah can prepare it, right? The identify spell. You don't have it.
Magic on it, I guess. As well.
Don't have it identified, but I thought don't we have the alt rules as well?
Oh yeah, you can just spend an hour, right, to identify it. Isn't that how it works?
I think I was under that impression.
Yeah.
But if not, let me know and I will prepare identify tomorrow.
No, you can. Yeah, no, you can. If you have the time, you can just use Arcana.
Yeah, it's the difference between an hour and 10 minutes, basically.
Yeah. So since you have the time, you can just identify it. I don't know if I shared this with you. I think I did last time, but there's.
Yeah,
you
did.
Good.
That's what it looks like. Yeah, let's see. This is...
Bony.
This weapon is known as Bloodfall. It is clearly a far superior craftsmanship than any ordinary weapon. The blade is made of a carved crocodile jaw, seemingly sawed in half and inscribed with primordial glyphs. The haft is bound in crocodile leather strips around spiky bones. The Chelton words Bloodfall are carved into the bones. It is a glaive, so it's a heavy reach two-handed magic 1d10 slashing weapon. Here's what it does, and you can see it on your character sheet now too as you look at it. When you roll a 20 on your attack roll with this magic weapon, your critical hit deals an extra 5 damage of the weapon's type. It has a quirk, Hungry. The glaive's magical properties only function if it has tasted fresh blood within the last 24 hours. Once per short rest, Blood Frenzy. For 1 round, you can gain advantage on targets that are not at full hit points. If your attack hits, you deal an additional d6 slashing damage. Once per long rest, Blood Rage. You can enter a state of rage, giving you a +2 to damage rolls against any target under half life. And against any target with less than 25% life, this damage increases to +4, and you crit on a 19 or 20. This state lasts for 3 rounds. When the rage subsides, you gain temporary hit points equal to the amount of rage damage you dealt. These last until you take a short rest.
That's what we call a win more button. Like they're down to less than 25% health. It means you're probably winning. It's like, well, you're gonna win more.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
All I have is.
But
these three
only if
blades.
it takes blood within the last 24 hours?
Yeah, you can't activate any of its magical abilities unless it's tasted fresh blood within the last 24 hours.
You gotta hit first.
Yeah.
Why didn't it identify for you? That's weird. There you go, Ryan. Sorry. There you go.
God damn it.
You just stayed under.
Now this whole fight has been derailed.
So
Cool.
yeah, it's it does require attunement.
Of course. And let's put a little asterisk beside it.
So yes, you won't be able to just put a static effect on you because it changes based on the amount of life your person you hit. But that's only if you actually activate the Blood Rage.
Okie dokie, I'll have to read it, study it, memorize it.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. But yeah, you'll have it there. You can look it over, and I leave it to you to activate any of the various abilities. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward when it works and when it doesn't.
Cool beans. It matches my bones. I have
Matches
bones.
Your bones. I've got bones that says bones.
Wow.
It was
What are
made-
the odds? I found a weapon that has bones and I have bones?
I wear the bones.
Like it was
The
made
bones have it.
The bones. Look at the bones. You guys gonna sleep in the fine establishment here?
Yeah.
Good.
Oh.
Long rest it is.
Is this an actual long rest?
This is
I
an
can use a
actual
couple
long
of-
rest.
I guess I had a couple of magic spells I could have used, I think.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
I
sure.
can-
If you want to cure with spells before you sleep, sure.
Yeah. Who needs stuff?
One
I
level
have
one.
good berry before we sleep.
Baz.
I kind of almost assume that between the
Oh.
3 of people that have spells left, that you can probably heal your party up, but
It was mostly me and Baz beat up, I think.
I had 2 level 1.
2 level 1.
I had 3 level 1s and I think at least a couple. I don't think I had used any of my level 2s.
I have all of my spells.
I'll use them both on
Man,
Baz.
Donovan, you were so good and efficient in that fight.
Right?
Wrong one.
You were, I mean, yeah, you were kind of like
Nice.
off in the distance.
You should have seen what I did. It was
Oh,
amazing.
we saw. You were just totally taking care of all those side creatures.
Right? I really wanted to show Aelin what I could do.
Boy,
Yeah, and I completely missed it. I was facing the other way.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, I'm sure it was cool though.
So cool.
I have 6 hit points. If there's any healing left.
You have healing.
Ryan, you know if you target and actually click the heal button,
I know.
Okay.
That's true.
Well, I just tried to drop it on my picture, but it didn't. But I was going for me anyways.
Okay, I just added 16 to you. We have more healing? How
I'm
much?
gonna healing hands myself down to 1 wound.
And I'm gonna use a hit die.
Baz is full.
Well, I
Someone would
think
like to give me a Baz.
I don't think you need to, John, because Donna has a bunch of healing spells still, and you
As
guys.
well.
I don't trust them, evidently.
Filthy
I
tar
was-
magic.
Bandaging
We
himself,
also-
just staring at Donna Quinn.
Ran off in the last fight. Didn't see him at all.
Remember, with our hit die,
Level 2.
we get an extra back. With our hit
Healthy.
die.
Harlequin would go and offer Archeos of a good berry of to heal the last little bit.
Last point.
Perfect.
I would go over to Baz as well and stuff like that and ask him if he would like several good berries off.
sure. Love that.
Chomp, chomp, chomp.
Nom nom. And I would draw the shitty map for.
A shitty map.
Sure.
It's not
Since
too
you've even
shitty.
said shitty map, I'm not even gonna. It doesn't need a roll. You can just make a shitty map for them. That's fine.
It's not even a shitty map because she can't bring herself to do that. It's a basic map.
It shows where Shitty Walk is.
It's basic that doesn't have, and it's not complete, basically. But it's
Alright.
drawn nicely because she wants to make it look like it's a proper map.
Well, you
I'm
guys.
gonna draw a big old dick over it. I don't do that. Just kidding.
Well, you guys have a
it.
restful night in the temple with no chance of interruption, pure safety, because Masika just turns off the door.
Oh, right.
And you find yourselves the next day awakened, refreshed, healed up, patched up. Everybody is happy. I don't know if you're all happy. It's up to you.
Well, yeah, let's not.
I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to step on your player agency there. You guys are all in whatever mood you deem best fits your character, and
I shake the rain stick of Umbala, and I'm just like, damn it.
Damn you, rain stick.
It's empty.
Oh, because you're trying to recharge it.
Yeah.
You'll never work again the rest of the campaign.
I mean, at this rate.
You used it up. All right. Yeah, it's the morning. It is. You guys awaken. Masika will. I kind of assume that you guys can. Oh wait. What if Masika had like an embolism in the night? Are you guys trapped here forever? She can't turn the portals back on.
Maybe.
I better roll for embolism. See if this campaign's over.
How does airflow work when there's no portal? Do we just suffocate and die?
Yeah. No, there's supernatural air circulation. Anyways, let's not talk about the logistics of air in a random portal temple.
Magic.
It's magic. It's porous.
The
It
magic's
comes in.
gone.
Magic.
It's porous crystal that allows you to breathe. Anyways, so you're in the mess hall in the morning. You ate breakfast. Masika meets you as you're ready to do whatever you're gonna do. It is the, I believe, 14th of Ches today. Yep.
Yep.
It is the 4th day, 14th of Ches. The year 1504. Masika would meet you in the morning, say good mornings over breakfast and such. And yeah, anything you would like to do before you head out, whatever your plan is.
I'll make breakfast for everyone. Have one last breakfast with Masika until we see her again.
And
Sure. Yeah, I can't think of anything specific in the city
yeah.
And
Oh.
I
or in the temple.
try to take some of the monkey fruit and try to alchemy out the juice. Like, try to get a good strain of pure monkey fruit goodness.
Like a concentrate.
Concentrate.
Sure.
Try to isolate the active ingredient.
Yeah, let's do it. You can do that. Would this would just be alchemy tools check? You're not really crafting it. You're just right, or is this a crafting check? I don't know.
I think it's up to you. I got 7 fruit. I want to try to get it into a vial, into a
concentrated.
Yeah. Just a little vial of monkey fruit.
Sure.
Maybe maybe not at the table, Jonah.
So basically, he wants to distill it down into drugs.
Yes.
Well, sure. Why not? Sure. Let's call this a. I mean, distillation seems a pretty basic kind of thing when it comes to alchemy. So why don't we say?
I don't know. I've been watching Breaking Bad. It's like a lot of shit goes into it.
Okay.
You gotta knock on doors.
It's super hard.
It's super hard. Okay. It's. But you got the high quality ingredients to make a monkey fruit distillate. So, let's call it a level 2.
All right.
Level 2 craft. You've got your high quality dye. You got your base dyes, and then you've got your whatever else. I don't think anybody else can help you with this. Nobody else.
I was gonna say.
Nobody else has the skills necessary.
I actively do not help.
Although you
as far away as possible.
You do have a. I would even give you if you choose. Yeah, you could definitely utilize the apparatuses in the apothecarium.
Ah.
So,
Or like a high quality workshop.
yeah.
I won't touch any. Is there any oozes in there still?
No, there's no. I mean, there's stuff in the. There's enough stuff to create one more potion in there, but
I don't remember. Okay, I might also create one random potion after this. Okay, but so is that just high quality workshop? Is that another die or something?
It could be knowledge, because knowledge of the instruments to do this.
You know what? Yeah, I think it would fall in. Let's call it under. We'll give you the assistance die, sure.
So 3 dice in total. No, 4 because we're level.
Oh yeah,
We
4.
start with
4 'cause
2.
you start with 2 now. So 4 dice to get DC 15 should be doable for you.
Plus your
Oh,
plus your like
Yeah.
Adding
flat
on
bonus.
Yeah. This
just
is
that.
You get proficiency bonus and like,
Yeah. Proficiency is enough to get it to 15.
and then probably intellect. I would assume would be the
yeah,
main.
be 7. So the first 3. So technically, you would have made it on the 3rd die. You wouldn't have had to roll that last one.
it smells a little funny, right? Because the 6 and 1 cancel.
Yeah, the 6 and 1 cancel, so it's got a minor cosmetic flaw. So yeah, maybe it smells badly. But yeah, you succeed in distilling it down, no problem. You have a vial of monkey fruit distillate extract, or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
No,
I have 7. Do I have? How many did that consume?
to get a full vial of like extract, I think that would.
Technically, I have 7.5. But if you want to say all of it, I'm fine
Yeah,
with that.
I'm gonna say all of it. To get
Okay.
that much juice out of all of it, you'd have to squeeze them all down. So, you ever try to get like an actual like glass of orange juice out of oranges? How many oranges do you have to go through? Yeah.
You have to squeeze it down, and then maybe you have to like boil off some of the extra liquid, or
yeah. Cool.
And then I'm just going to make a random potion.
So you're not going to repeat the either of the sequences you already did, or any?
Correct, including the one to do the ooze.
Yeah. Okay.
But I just throw some levers and see what I get.
Sure. As Jonah fucks around with the Apothecarium, let's hope he doesn't blow up. Alright, here it is. So you just totally random. Okay.
Totally random.
Totally random. Can you roll me a d10?
Alright,
Can you
d10.
just tell me what you get? Actually, I can see it. 4. Okay. You have brewed a vial of. Can you roll me just percentile dice?
Brown liquid.
Brown better drink it right away.
I like that going back. You just couldn't resist.
Hey, I'm here. That's enough for one more.
Okay.
Check to see if no one's looking. You guys left me unsupervised.
Okay. This interesting. Okay. And can you roll me a d10 again? I love this table. Okay. So it's you sense that you've made yourself. I guess you can just. Did you prepare Identify today? Or no,
did not,
potions you
but
can
I
just
might-
take a little sip to know what it does, anyways, right?
Yeah.
Right, I'm at alchemy tools. It's supposed to be one of those things you can do.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you-
So I just need one last thing because the way you're rolling, it's forcing me to roll on more tables. Can you roll one more percentile dice?
Ooh.
98. Oh god. Usually when you get something that high, it's really bad. Let's see. Or really good.
Or really
Or
good.
really good.
Is high good or low good? I don't know.
I would want it to be good when you roll high.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm putting this all together. I need to know the appearance. So can you give me two d20s? I need to know what color and appearance this is
Oh, come on.
randomly.
Be brown. Be brown.
5 and a 9.
Yeah. Or evidently a 9 and a 5.
A 9 and a 5 apparently. So you have made a black potion with some kind of bone-like bits floating in it.
Metal.
It has a thin and watery texture and smells like beer.
Oh. All right.
Like a Guinness.
And when you drink it, it is
Gross.
it is a major potion of transmutation. And the effect, should you drink this, well, number one, there is a side effect if you drink this. Hold on, what is it again?
If it's a side effect, is that the number one thing?
No, it's a side effect. These 98. The side effect is you can't taste anything for the duration of the potion. It's just a bad bitter taste on your tongue no matter what you eat. So that's the side effect. But for oh, Jesus, can you roll me a D10? I want to see.
Best potion ever.
Plus inspiration.
Holy shit. Okay, for the next for the next 90 days, after drinking it, you can always tell the exact time and date.
Oh,
Wow.
Down to the second, exactly the time and date for the next 90 days, but at the cost of losing your sense of taste entirely.
For 90 days.
Wait,
90
hold
days.
on. Wait,
Clockwork
what?
potion?
He drinks the potion, and the potion, that's what it does?
That's what it does.
Yeah.
For 90 days, he can tell the exact time and date at all times, but the side effect is all he can taste is this bitter taste on his tongue the entire time.
No, throw that
I
shit
know
away.
Baz wouldn't go for it.
Throw that shit away. Are you kidding me?
Anyways, the joy
Here's
of
what-
the
here's
massive
what date
random
time it is.
potion table.
You should.
And
you
yes,
should
it's a
hold on
it's
to
a
it.
black watery substance with a little flecks of bone floating in it.
You should take a look at some of those tables for side effects and keep them in mind for when we craft stuff and we get bad or good results. It might be an interesting
Well,
thing.
this is specifically for potion, but it could work for
Oh,
other
right. I'm
things,
just
maybe.
saying for ideas for boons or flaws, it might have some interesting stuff on there that could work for
I agree.
for Baz's cooking or for Jonah's potion making or there could be some good boons or flaws in that.
So
By
yeah,
the way, Corey, I do have another unidentified one that we
It's
never
true. I
identified.
think the two potions that you
No,
made.
we identified one of them.
One of them
was
was
a
a healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a healing with a side effect.
Superior healing, your hand glows with light.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
I gave it to somebody. But the
You gave
other
it to
one
me.
was pure unidentified. I want to keep it unidentified, but I just want to make sure you have it written somewhere.
Oh yeah. Did I put that on your character sheet?
I just have a unidentified potion. I think I did it. Maybe you did, but it doesn't. There's nothing on it. It just says unidentified potion. But I want to keep it unidentified. I'm just telling you right now. Sometime in some battle, I'm just gonna randomly drink it,
So you should know what it does.
just so that we don't stop a combat and you're like,
Roll 18 dice on this table to figure out what it actually did. So you're saying we should maybe roll for it now so Corey knows?
if he doesn't have it written somewhere.
Hmm.
But I don't want to know what it is.
Can you see what I'm typing or no?
I cannot.
Okay, good. So I know what this one is. So
Perfect. Oh yeah, the brown one we didn't know what it was. The red one was with the evocation most potion was the healing potion. The brown one with conjuration and transmutation we did not know.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
but-
One round.
okay. I know what it is, but now I've written it on the actual potion in your inventory. So
Cool.
because I could potentially lose that somewhere in the annals of time. All right. So you have distilled your monkey fruit. You have crafted, or you've used the last of the stuff. So now the apparatus is empty. To create a very odd potion, but maybe it'll have some utility. Watch, there'll be a time-based puzzle or something later on, and Jonah will be like, "Aha!"
We're on a
Matter
different
of-
plane, and I have to know
Having
exactly.
to eat something gross.
Yeah, exactly.
A shit eating contest. No problem. I'll just
Jonah's
drink this
got
and
this.
Bass failed one of his cooking thing. Just like
can't be worse than this potion, right? Wait.
Man.
All
Oh
right.
my
It
god.
reminds me of that soup.
For 90 days, for 3 months, you could be like the champion of eating shit. People could like bet on what you can and can't eat, and you could just make a bunch of money. But only for those 3 months.
or
I still think it would make you sick. Doesn't mean it's not.
Wear the
weird
amulet of
poison.
immune to disease at the same time.
There's the amulet, and he can cure himself and restoration himself. It's fine.
It's the plan's coming together.
And then he takes off the amulet and forgot that he didn't cure himself. All that shit eating. I ate pieces of shit like you for breakfast. You eat pieces of shit for breakfast? Actually, yes, I do.
would lesser restoration fix the side effects?
No. It's magic.
Good. I'd have to wish for it.
Curse.
Yeah,
You'd
a
have
wish.
to remove a curse.
Could you imagine finding like a ring of 3 wishes or something and it'd be like, okay, there's only 1 charge left. Aha! I know exactly. I removed the side effect.
I want my taste back. Unfortunately, there's no wish strong enough to fix your taste.
Yeah. Well, with that,
You still wear
solved,
golf clothing.
You guys are. Oh, what? You guys are
Trying to
leaving?
head out. Yeah,
Say
unless
goodbye
something
to Mezro.
stops us.
Goodbye, Mezro. Are you heading out the same way? You like back down the wall, across and up the bluff where you came in?
I think so.
That's the best way. Yeah.
as well.
It's the way
And
we
then-
know.
Try to take the same way back that we
Yeah.
arrived.
Yeah, we'll try to backtrack. We've got a lot less people now. There was no hold on. There was no other signs. There were like on our way out. I would definitely want to like check the tower for signs of the guide who's
Zach
yeah. If there's any,
or
just
Zendala.
looking for any signs of those two as we're going back.
Ah, the laughing monkeys. Don't laugh at me.
Sure. So you
God, if
guys.
she's dead, we're gonna lose the entire amount. That sucks.
I mean,
Anyway,
also she's dead.
well, yeah.
As you guys head out along the wall in the early morning, do you know, because I can just tell you, it is, someone help me, 40 degrees Fahrenheit is how many degrees in Celsius?
Oh, hold on.
Very cold.
That's
Very,
like-
very. That's
that's like-
that's.
No,
it's
I'm not talking in
freezing.
absolute, I'm talking in just value. What's 40 in Celsius?
40 Fahrenheit's like 6 degrees Celsius, maybe.
Yeah.
So 40 degrees worth of Fahrenheit is 6 degrees worth of
No,
Celsius?
it's not. It's not a linear
It's not.
scale.
It's not an absolute.
It's 4.4 Celsius.
Go 90 is 30.
If you,
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, it's not linear.
it's not linear. Like I say, they meet at -40. So
Cool. Well, it is 40 degrees hotter than normal today.
Cool. Okay.
So
That's
we're all
hot.
dead.
Well, I'm assuming 40 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, but if it's like
I mean, that's a lot fucking hotter.
That's
yeah,
a
that's
lot.
like 90 to 130
That's probably
or
like
80.
Yeah.
So
80
you,
to
you, guys,
120.
you guys know, and
You're
and the reason I'm
dead.
telling you this is up front, also, there is 0 rain in the forecast. 0. So, today is going to be an extremely hot day
Yeah.
with no rain.
I
You
say
guys
we
know
just
this because
stay
you
here.
have Druidcraft and can just check the weather in the morning. So,
Yeah.
Yes, that do.
Oh,
so just so you're aware, before you head out,
yeah.
you know that it's going to be very hot today.
If I see Donaquin conjuring the weather-telling orb, I'm gonna kind of just look at the staff and be like, "Oh,
Oh, this is
I'm gonna twist the top to the air side."
this is garbage. Throws it over.
The one thing it's been good for. So what does the air do? Gust does a cantrip?
Gust, yeah.
Oh man, just annoy people out.
Well, now we got a
that's good
fan
on a hot
going.
day though. Yeah, you got a fan. Whoosh,
Yeah.
whoosh. Blowing air.
Oh, cabana boy.
So yeah, so it's gonna be really hot. So just so you guys are aware, that means double water for everybody. If you're in heavy armor, it's triple water than usual today, with no rain in the forecast. So just be prepared for that.
Somebody crank up the heat.
Probably now in the morning. Obviously, the hottest part of the day is in the mid-afternoon. So in the morning, it's still hot even as you're. I mean, it's always hot. It's chalt, but in the morning it's dry and hot. You guys make your way across the wall. It only takes you probably like an hour to get out of the city and back up that bluff. It's not that far.
I will have left the map.
Oh yeah,
I will just
sorry. I
leave the
assumed
map.
you
I'll
did that
just
yesterday, but yeah.
Yeah, I would just leave a quick note on it that just said,
Fuck
you know,
Sorry.
no,
Okay.
yeah, in
Need
a
a
rush,
fucking map.
you know, had to leave quickly. Here's what I had. Thanks. Happy face.
Thanks. Have smiley emoji, smiley emoji.
Smiley emoji.
Yeah.
And then there's a dick drawn above it on a wall.
Don't deface the temple.
When you reach the
I
top
use
of the bluff at probably like, we'll say about 8 a.m. You guys get up early, your adventures. About 8 a.m. you reach the top of the bluff, and you see, as you kind of climb to the top and enter the woods, you suddenly, there's a rustling from the bushes.
Please be a Zaka.
And a small rabbit pops forth. It has a single horn like a unicorn in the top of its head. And it kind of like sits up on two legs and kind of like wiggles its nose. And then bounds off into the woods.
Interesting creature.
What the fuck was that?
Unicron crabbit.
Anybody know what the hell that was?
Oh, let's see if I've come across these before.
You have, Donaquin. You are familiar with these. There are, well, they're not everywhere. There are some that exist on the Snout of Omgar and around the area. This creature is known as an Almirage.
Oh, they're the best. I love them so much.
But if we all saw it, how could it be a mirage?
That is my
That's what he looks like.
He's so cute. Going to be that.
That's what it's gonna be.
I now have my familiar's next form.
Are they tasty?
An Almirage.
Yeah,
he's a little bunny with a horn.
They're pretty they're pretty harmless creatures. Well, I should say harmless, but you know, if provoked, they can like leap and stab with that horn. But they're not dangerous creatures by any means.
That big sharp teeth. It's the guardian of Schmagenrog.
Do they represent anything like good luck or anything like that?
No, not really.
Are they
Only
tasty?
if you chop off their feet.
They can. I mean, they can be eaten just like rabbits could be, but they don't have any like. Oh. As far as you know, they don't have any special properties. They don't have any magical powers or anything.
Donaquin, you can turn into one of those now, right?
I have to really look at it longer stuff than just that, but I've been trying many times. It was super cute.
Wait, you can turn into animals?
You're right. We don't know that you can do that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, you do. You saw me turn into a crocodile and stuff to attack those guys in the battle.
Mm-hmm. Crocodile ate mudmen.
Nom nom.
Oh.
I
seem to be acting as a normal animal, or was it trying to convey? Like, was it acting?
It just jumped out of the woods,
I think
looked at you, and
just a
bounded
rabbit.
off. Please don't read too much into this. It's just flavor.
We have to follow it.
Hold on.
Why
Wait a
I
second.
wasn't sure.
Did
if
it look like it was
like,
forsaken by the rest of the rabbits?
What does it mean?
Black
It's
one, you
just
can
a
track
chair.
it, right?
It's just a chair.
I could track it if I wanted to,
It looked to me
but this
good.
would be literally chasing the rabbit down a rabbit hole.
I thought they were your favorite enemy.
No, jackalopes.
Jackalope.
Oh,
Oh
Lord.
man, that's a good point. They must have a really hard time just being in burrows.
Maybe they don't burrow.
Like, how are you gonna turn around with a
Kind of looks like a
giant horn
rabbit
sticking out?
that has male pattern baldness.
They're
Maybe
just-
it's retractable.
Yeah, it's retractable. That's
Oh,
It's so
is it?
Is it?
sure.
It has to be.
Wow.
Why?
I needed a 19 to know that.
Why not?
Where does it go?
It can't turn its head because it just goes straight down along its back of its neck. So it just kind of. Anyways,
It's like a Frankenstein duck bunny.
the more we think about
Matt,
this, the more horrific this creature seems.
We met a horny rabbit, just like every other rabbit.
So cute.
Horn is actually a parasite.
So anyway,
So, anyways,
It's
no sign of
so,
a Zaka
cool.
here.
there is no sign of Zaka up here. No. There's no sign of Zendala either.
Oh, I hate it.
Surprised we didn't run into her.
I'm so.
My fear is that they're in the scholar ward, like taken by the bad people.
Well, somebody's minus everything but their feet. Not necessarily one or the other, but somebody is.
Well, it definitely wasn't
they were
Zaka,
Chalton.
or it definitely
No, it
wasn't
wasn't
Zendala
Zendala.
because they were
Yeah.
Chalton. Yeah, they were Chalton feet.
It said Chalton feet on them.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm just upset at leaving without knowing what happened.
Same. But
You arrive
We
with
have-
3 companions. You're leaving, well, with 1 new companion.
Yeah, maybe she had to run and made her way back to the boat. I can be hopeful until we get
Maybe.
to the boat.
It's perfectly reasonable. So why don't we take our break here? So I can use the washroom, grab a drink, and grab some food, and then we'll come back and we can find out whether you make it back to the ship or if you die in the jungle.
Yay! Dying in the jungle.
Okay,
I mean, what?
let's come back at quarter after.
Okay.
Okay.